The Toronto Raptors lose on a back-to-back to the Philadelphia 76ers, not being able to ruin Nick Nurse's return to Toronto. I think there's a lot of encouraging data from tonight's game. Scotty Barnes had, in my opinion, his first really good game of the year. Grady Dick scored his first point and his second point and his third point. He was incredible. There's so much to talk about in today's game. There are some losses you feel good about. There's some wins you feel bad about. This is a loss that I can take. I think there's a lot of positives that the Raptors can build on going forward. Tough night, but a lot of encouraging data, and we're going to talk about it. If you would like to call in, link is in the description. Please make sure to hit like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We're doing this every single time the Raptors play this season. Let's hit that intro and let's get to it. I wanted that one so badly. And honestly, I had faith up until about the fourth quarter. I got to tell you, there's so many positives. If you are a person who spent last year wondering, what is the plan? What are we doing here? What is the future going to look like? I think you got to look at the future tonight. All right. Now, I am so happy. Timing is everything in life. If you haven't checked out the live that I did this afternoon about what the Raptors offense could do to alleviate some of the problems, you saw a lot of that today. Okay. Yes, they didn't bench Malachi Flynn. We'll talk about Malachi Flynn and what I think was his best game of the season for sure. But more Grady was part of the recipe. And tonight you got more Grady Dick. And it was incredible. Look, he hasn't scored a single point before tonight. And I'd be remiss if I did not tell you once again that despite not scoring a single point in the first two games, he was a positive for me. Analytics don't say that, but the eye test, if you understand basketball, a lot to be encouraged. And he was the first guard off the bench. And the minute he was the first guard off the bench, I did a little bit of a celebration. I was very happy to see that. He has pretty much passed Jalen McDaniels in the rotation in 3 games. Not super encouraging for those of us who were hoping for something from Jalen McDaniels, and I hope that he will get another stab at it when he's more in rhythm. But what Grady did tonight, it's not normal. For a 19-year-old to read the game as well as he was tonight. And seriously, as I promised earlier, I will do a tape breakdown of the first 3 games. And this game, I'm so happy that this game is going to be so fun to watch. There's a lot of ugly stuff. Yes, there's a lot of mistakes. Yes. But for me, it's the players that are making the mistakes are the ones that I don't really see as part of the future. And the ones who shone so brightly, once again, context, timing, so important. Tough loss last night against the Raptors. If they had come out tonight and laid an egg, I don't think you would have been able to say you'd blame them for it. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. You're exhausted. You played in overtime. It was a heartbreaker. You read the last 2-minute report. You were screwed by the referees last night. You know, you get a couple tough calls today, although I think they had a favorable whistle to start, and then it got more skewed towards the end. There are a lot of reasons to quit on this game. You're outmatched. You don't have OG Anunoby. You know, you have a max player on your roster right now who basically disappeared after the first quarter. And we'll talk about that too. There was a lot of encouraging signs. So let's talk about them. First of all, let's take a look at the box score. Okay. So for Scotty Barnes, now I have said pretty much to everyone's chagrin, And people have been pretty critical of me for saying that he hasn't had a great game yet. And yet, the people who would know, the people who would know inside have agreed that he has not yet had a great game. I don't know if this is a great game, but this is the first game where I can say this was what I think he is as a player right now. And some people might say this is him playing significantly above his head. Please understand, this is a guy who played 39 minutes, 38 minutes last night in an exhausting game, which was emotionally taxing, in which he was by far, carrying your defense when OG Anunoby went out, carrying your offense. He did so much for you last night, triple-double, third player in the NBA this year to get a triple-double, and he earned every bit of it. And for him to come out tonight and really just control the game. I thought he was having a fantastic game when he had 7 points. At the halftime, I think he had 7 points, 3 assists, like 2 rebounds, something like that. And I thought he was having the best game of the season at that point. And it just got so much better in the second half. And it doesn't matter with the box score. With Scottie, it's never going to matter about the box score. It was his gamesmanship. One play that came to mind was Scottie quickly running up the court, getting the advantage to Gary Trent Jr., Gary Trent curling around the baseline, passing out. Eventually, the ball ends up in Jakob Poeltl's hands. Defense hasn't recovered. The ball has been moving 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and he hands it off to Dennis Schroeder, who gets a wide open layup, and Joel Embiid doesn't contest it. I was like, this can work. This can absolutely work. You just have to initiate quickly, and you have to read quickly, and you have to react quickly. And Darko Rajakovic, we will talk about his post-game reaction to this. He was very complimentary of Grady in his post-game. The Raptors get a tremendous shooting night, across the board. Scotty Barnes bombing threes from the top, above the break. He hit a 27-footer, 28-footer early on. I mean, his shot chart looks really freaking interesting. Look at the wide one right there. I don't know if you guys can see the arrow that I'm pointing at. I mean, he was just everywhere. Mid-range, in the paint. Like, he was so good tonight. Grady was incredible. Off the bench, 28 minutes, by far a career high, 16 points, by far a career high. Everything was a career high for Grady Dick because he really hasn't played much so far, right? I don't even care about the points. He could have missed every single shot he took. It's the shots that he's taking. It's how he's reading the game. It's how he's relocating, how he's communicating. I think a couple lives ago or last live, we were asked about our all IQ team by Jesse, and I put Grady on mine. I hope I did. I think I did. At least I considered it. I might have. Maybe I didn't. I would now. He's so smart. Like, the way that he is reading the court, his passing ability, it's not normal for a 19-year-old. I'm sorry to repeat myself. This is not a normal 19-year-old. He is reading the game like, okay, let me put it this way. Let's say I use some AI generated software to just, sort of put Klay Thompson's face on his face. And I watched 10 of his best plays from tonight. I'm not talking all the plays. I'm talking his 10 best plays from tonight. And I used some AI software to import, Kevin Huerter or Klay Thompson or Buddy Hield or some incredible, movement shooter. And I just put him on it. I would believe it. And those guys are all, serious vets, and they're practice professionals. His potential is so freaking high. It is blowing my mind. I'm not trying to gas him up. Please understand. I'm not trying to gas him up. But there's something here, man, with this guy. If you go back to my takes on Scotty Barnes early when he was a rookie, granted, with Scotty, it was a lot more familiarity. I'd watched him through AAU, I'd watched him through college, whatever. There was a lot more of a buy-in already, so I didn't need to be sold on it. But it was very early with Scotty. It was like, wait. This is going to be something. With Grady, it's like I am adjusting my expectations every day. Every day. It gets better and better. He is shot ready. He takes great shots. I don't think he's taken a single bad shot. 3 games, not a single bad, maybe one. Maybe one bad shot. He's made one bad shot. He got caught flat-footed a couple times defensively. He does so many things well. He's doing shit on the offensive glass. He's getting extra possessions. He's trying to get deflections. I mean, he's long. He's pretty athletic. I mean, he's not some bursty athlete. He's not Shaden Sharp, but he's a good athlete. I think you have something. I would be very surprised if he's not starting for you next year. I'll bet money on it. He will start for you at some point this year or next year. He will be started for you. And he's 19 years old. I'll remind you again, he is 19 years old. And I would very firmly say he's one of the smartest players in your rotation right now. It's ridiculous how good this guy is. On to Scottie. Just gamesmanship, man. There's so many times when he passed the ball to Dennis Schroeder and he's telling Dennis Schroeder what the next pass is. And Dennis Schroeder doesn't see it. He doesn't see it at all. He's passing the ball to Siakam and he's telling him who's cutting. He doesn't see it either. You have a 22-year-old and a 19-year-old who are literally on a different world in terms of basketball IQ right now. And it is really, on the one hand, it's very fruitful. It's a very good thing to see because these are obviously guys who are part of the core. These are guys that you've drafted in the last 3 drafts. They are obviously who Darko is here to promote. This is obviously what you're building around. They fit your 0.5 offense. You need smart players. You have smart players. You need a shooter. You need a moving shooter. You have a moving shooter. You need big playmakers. You have a big playmaker. But tonight, it's your vets who cost you big time, big time. I don't want to vibe negative today, though. There's so many positive things to talk about in today's game. So let's take, 5 minutes to talk about the negatives. I promise you, this is going to be overwhelmingly positive. Like there's so many encouraging things from today, but the negatives, let us, just get this out of the way. Number 1, right? I like the lineup synergy so much more today. Incredible. Like, I don't want to say incredible, but much better. Jalen McDaniels, possibly, he got the Malachi Flynn treatment tonight. Got in the first half, played 2.5 minutes, -5, didn't play again. Okay. Chris Boucher, 1 for 6. I thought he started strong, man. He started strong. He was giving a lot of energy on defense, and he was a part. And then it went away from him. He hit one, and then he just lost his mind. And this is something you get used to with Chris Boucher. You never know which Chris Boucher you're going to get on a night-to-night basis, and tonight was no different. Malachi Flynn, man, given the games that he has had to date, this was as an assured performance from Malachi Flynn as I could have ever expected in my life. You may not say that, you might look at the box score, 7 points, 2 assists, 0 rebounds. He was -2 in his 12 minutes. Need I remind you that this guy was -14 in his 4 minutes yesterday? This was a significant improvement from him, specifically on how quickly he was making decisions. If he wanted to drive, he was going to drive. Yeah, he had that one take where I thought it was a good take. I don't mind if he takes that. You know what I mean? He's not the greatest finisher in the paint, fine. But I like that he made decisions tonight within the flow of the offense. He didn't get outside of himself too much. Yes, there were a couple of, gets the ball, dribbles it off his foot, but hey, that was the epitome of Malachi Flynn's career. He digs down it reminded me of Fred VanVleet, the way he dug down on the double team, gets the steal, gets the ball, dribbles it off himself. And it's just like, shit. I was happy for him. You know what I mean? As much shit as I've talked about him for the last 2 weeks, man, I'm so happy for him. This was so needed. Hopefully this is something he can build on going forward, because if he's going to play, he has to play like this. So I am very happy for Malachi Flynn. No shade today, okay? I think he played okay on defense. I think there were some, there are some issues, obviously. You're playing Tyrese Maxey. You cannot have an accurate gauge of what type of defender, who can stop Tyrese Maxey. Seriously, who? Like, I think they did an okay job in the first quarter, and then from there on, it was basically curtains, right? Really hard player to stop, right? So I think overall, good game from Malachi Flynn. No complaints. Precious Achiuwa, 3 for 10. Honestly, shot selection, defensive IQ, offensive IQ. He had one really good pass to Scottie for that dunk. But overall, I don't know. I don't know, man. How many dunks did he miss? 3? If those go down, maybe we're talking about a different game for Precious Achiuwa. Maybe it's a little less frustrating. You see 6 for 10 instead of 3 for 10. He tried. I don't really have anything overly negative to say about Precious Achiuwa. I wish he'll be better. especially with Jakob Poeltl struggling so freaking hard in this game. I liked his compete level on defense, but there were a couple of, just low IQ, man. All the gifts in the world, just nothing here. Just nothing going on up here, man. It's just like it's like penguins or beavers or something. Like, come on, man. Like, someone please teach Precious Achiuwa the game of basketball. Like, I would be so impressed. This guy has everything you could possibly want for a mobile big in the modern NBA. He has every gift imaginable. His shot is not fundamentally broken. He can take guys off the dribble. He just can't figure out where his feet are supposed to be at any given time, offensively, defensively. There is almost like a disruption that happens between when he makes a decision and when his hands receive the information. There is a disruption. It's like a virus that it's like he'll decide to go left. He'll make a decision. He sees something opening left. And then by the time his brain communicates that message to his feet, everything has changed and he travels or something crazy like that. Like, there is just some sort of processing issue. And I've listened to him talk. He is not stupid. He is a very smart guy, and he's very intelligent, and he's extremely well-spoken. And I don't think it's an intelligence thing. I just don't know what is happening here with him. And he's not the only person on this team that has that issue. But every tool in the world, right? Every tool in the world, not the worst game, not the best game, needs to be better. Gary Trent Jr. started out super strong in place of OG Anunoby, was a really big reason why I think the Raptors offense really clicked in the beginning. And it was like he got them off to a great start. He shoots 3 for 5 from 3. I think overall, hard to really complain, just some of the paint finishing stuff, leaving some bunnies at the rim short. I would like to look at a shot chart maybe later on and just kind of examine what happened with his game and why it started out so much more efficiently than it ended up. Jakob Poeltl, like, really just, he's negative 19 and they tell you not to pay attention to plus minus, but this might be the worst game I've ever seen from Jakob Poeltl in my life. And it wasn't just on offense. It wasn't just dropping things. It wasn't just leaving, a hook shot over a defender who's almost a foot shorter than you short. Maybe he's hurt. Benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's working himself into shape. Benefit of the doubt. But this is not the player I saw last year. Now, in fairness, he has been one of your better players the last 2 games. This is not a trend. This is not some sort of, oh my God, Jakob Poeltl has fallen off a cliff. This is just a bad game. This is just a bad game. They happen, but they shouldn't happen this way. And they shouldn't happen against Joel Embiid. And I think that some of his defense on Joel Embiid was not good. Not good. Not an ideal matchup for Joel Embiid, which does make you wonder, just pontificate maybe. If it's not for Joel Embiid, and if it's not for Nikola Jokic, both are stretch bigs with good ball handling skills that could probably put Jakob into spin cycles, then what is this for? Who are you stopping with Jakob Poeltl? The Andre Drummonds and DeAndre Aytons and Nikola Vucevic and Yusuf Nurkic's of the world, perhaps. But in order to compete with a guy like Joel Embiid defensively, ironically, you have to do a lot of what Nick Nurse did. He pretty much mastered how to stop this guy. And what you have to do is exploit his biggest weakness, which is his own basketball IQ. The coverage stayed very similar. I mean, he got some different looks, towards the end of the game. Scottie took him, but that's not necessarily Scottie one-on-one against Joel Embiid is not a fair matchup. This is a league MVP. He is one of the top 4 players. As much as I despise Joel Embiid, he is one of the top 4 players in the NBA, and he is huge. And he's been resting for an entire day. And Scotty Barnes played 39 minutes last night. This cannot be your strategy to stop Joel Embiid down the stretch. So, as much as I think that the 0.5 offense and elements of the offense and movement shooting and the motion offense and some of the pin downs and curls and whatever, like, these things worked better today, I once again find myself wondering, did Darko Rajakovic coach a good game tonight? Probably one of the better games Probably the best game he's coached among the 3 games so far, maybe. Probably. But it's close. It's close to the first one. There's some issues. There's some creativity, lack of creativity defensively. You know, Scotty Barnes cannot do what he did tonight for an entire season. You're burning this guy out. I don't care how good of a shape that he's in. No human being who is that large can do as much as he has done in 48 hours. 24 hours. What am I talking about 48 hours? Last night to tonight, it's 26 hours, 27 hours, and a flight, and a film session. He's never had such a solid 27-hour stretch in his life. Defensively, Scotty was incredible. You know, as much as the offense, you know, the box score is going to tell you about the offense. 11 for 16. So he shot 68.8%. He shot 40% from 3. He didn't get to the line, but I think, you know, he probably should have gotten to the line a couple of times for a couple and ones. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Honestly, this is not even close to what he did for you tonight. His disruption, him just deciding to disrupt certain passing lanes, close out on shooters, shade on a post up where he forces the guy to pass out when he otherwise wouldn't have, helping, rotating, scrambling. There was a play where he shut down three offensive players by himself in the same play. I can't believe what I watched today. This was the Scotty masterclass defensively, and they lost. So I feel for him. But unlike last night, I hope that he doesn't feel that this loss was on him, because he had 1 turnover tonight. So there's nothing to beat yourself up about tonight. I haven't talked about Pascal Siakam yet, right? And that's the one player I'm trying to avoid talking about right now, because I don't know what to say. 3 for 8. And I haven't talked about Dennis Schroeder completely either. So let's talk about those 2 guys. I've been live for 22 minutes. I'm just kind of putting this off. There's 360 of you in here. So I hope that you'll forgive me for the next 2 to 3 minutes if this is overly harsh. I'm not trying to be overly harsh, but it needs to be said. What needs to be said needs to be said. And if you worry that I'm leaning too negative, then please just rewind, rewind back 5 minutes ago when I was being glowingly positive about Grady Dick. Pascal Siakam cannot do this. This is a marquee matchup. This is a division rival. This is an Eastern Conference rival. Every rivalry, this is your old coach. This is your countryman. This is a guy that you've had plenty of back and forths with and one-on-one wars with. You've put up great numbers against him. He's put up great numbers against you. You've been in the playoffs before twice. This is a rivalry. These are the games you get up for as a competitor, as a star, as a superstar. These are the games that you circle on your calendar. This game is my game. I have to show up in this game. And when he came out, I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God. This is, the Pascal Siakam they need. Hitting threes, taking shots within rhythm, clearing out, and saying like, okay, I got it. But it's like after the first quarter, I didn't even know he existed. I was like, is he on the court right now? Bro, you can't do this. And he's done this too many times for me to ignore it. He's done this too many times. He's done this in the playoffs. This game counted for something. This is your home court. You need to fucking grow a pair, bro. Like, you cannot be this passive and soft. You have Malachi Flynn, Gary Trent Jr., Dennis Schroeder, Grady Dick. Who the hell is on the court that has your tenure, your status, your contract? You cannot be an observer, because you are certainly not spacing the floor the way Grady is right now, or OG would be. You're certainly not defending. He missed so many box out assignments tonight. It boggles my mind. If he's going through something right now, I empathize. Heart to heart, I do empathize. He's probably had a really rough offseason. He lost his coach. He lost his best friend on the team. I empathize. If he's working himself off of an injury that I don't know about, I'll empathize. If he's trying to just fit in because he doesn't want to be selfish, I'll empathize. Somebody please fucking talk to this guy and tell him, bro, you are our most skilled scorer. You cannot be, what the hell was he tonight? You cannot take 8 shots in 36 minutes, bro, and get 7 rebounds. Like, and shoot 37% from the field again. Like, you cannot do this. And I mean, like, where is your gusto? Where is your pride? Where is the pride? Like, how do you follow up what you did last night? You know, getting stripped by Alex Caruso, fine. Last 2 minutes report says that was a foul. Okay. You missed 2 free throws. It could happen to anybody. You hit two big ones before. You're having a tough time adjusting. But you have not had a good season. I flashed the stats earlier, man. You want to see the stats? These are stats. Okay. Worst season of his life. Just got worse. Is this harsh? Am I being harsh? You need to have some pride, man. You need to have some dog. Yo, Patrick Beverley said if he walked down a dark alley and he saw he wouldn't be afraid. Now, OG Anunoby's not on the fucking court to defend himself because he's got cramps. But you're there, and Patrick Beverley's there, and you're going to do exactly what he said that you were going to do, which is fold. You folded. Bro, I would rather, honestly, I know it's very primitive to think this way, but I would just rather, like, there's no compete level here. I mean, yeah, he was okay on defense in certain positions. There was a really good rotation. You didn't feel this guy. I would be very okay if you took 8 shots, but you killed it on the glass. Like, you were just crashing the offensive glass. There was a couple of really encouraging defensive possessions. I'm not saying it was all bad, but you on the court for 36 minutes. You are a max player. You want all NBA. You want super max. Yo, bro, are you kidding me right now? This is crazy. I have never seen this in my life. Yo, I know that I was one of the lowest people in Pascal Siakam last year. I know that. I did a fucking 40-minute rant where I said he was just not him. And I got a lot of flack for it. And I have spent all offseason wondering if I was too hard on him. And then I see a game like this being followed by a game like last night and followed by a game like the opening night. And I'm just like, bro, like, this is not it. This is not it. You got to be better. There has to be a moment where somebody talks to him and just says, yo, I understand this offense is new for you, but you're still an isolation scorer. You're still super skilled, bro. Like, you didn't lose all of it. You can't just be sitting here like you're fucking Kevon Looney. You know what I mean? Like, have some pride. You're an all NBA guy. Now we may, okay, fine. I'll agree. You're not one of the better all NBA guys. You're not an MVP candidate. You're not a top 5. But bro, I could almost respect what he was doing last year to some extent. Not all of it, but some of it. He was hunting for his. He was trying to get his. He was trying to get the offense going. Fine. Even his worst game last year didn't look like this. This is some new level of bullshit. This is crazy. This is bubble level meltdown. On an analytics level, this is worse than the bubble. And this is 3 games, start of a new season. You have teammates who are playing their heart out. You cannot do this. Moving on. Dennis Schroeder. What the fuck? Dude. Yo, I tweeted it out in the beginning. Every possession he initiated the offense in the first quarter was a disaster. It didn't matter if he was passing on a fucking dribble handoff. It was inaccurate. It was wrong. It just... Look at the first 11, 12, 13 points the Raptors scored, and I guarantee you almost every one of those possessions did not involve him in any significant way. If he was involved in the play, it was either a turnover, or it was a really bad pass to the wrong guy, or it was a late pass, or he missed a pass. Okay, let me clarify this for you. Dennis Schroeder is, I got Fred VanVleet vibes. In the fourth quarter, 100%. Yes, you hit a 3. You know what was in common with all of Dennis Schroeder's like good plays tonight? He wasn't generating them. You know what's in common with that 3 that he hit for the Lakers, which was viral, where he injected LeBron created that for you, bro. I'm tired of watching this guy pretend like this is Germany. Yo, bro, this is not FIBA, and you are not him. And you cannot do what you did against that defense in that league because that game is completely different. International game is different. There are a lot of guys who won MVP in that freaking, in that tournament, and they come to the NBA and think that they're him. And you got to have some humility and realize you have better teammates than you. You have to be a fourth or fifth option. And when he was great. He hit the threes. Scottie found him for a three. Boom. Reminded me just of LeBron curling around the baseline, finding him in the corner, and doing that freaking epic celebration, which I will never forget because of how they did it. It's like they planned it. It was incredible. Please understand. You know what his threes had in common tonight and what that three that he had in common? They're assisted. They're not self-generated. You are not Allen Iverson. You're not. And I'm tired of hearing that you're better than Fred VanVleet. He's not better than Fred VanVleet. Relax. Please stop. Fred is an undynamic passer. He is an inaccurate passer. He is a limited passer, but he is a good passer. Okay? Coming from one of the biggest Fred VanVleet haters, please shut up about this. Stop tweeting at me about it. Stop telling me that he's going to be this great. He's not. And Darko Rajakovic, you need to have a conversation with your boy. You've known him for a while. He's here because of you. Okay, tell him, dude, you cannot go outside the offense. You hit a shot, congratulations. It's just like if Grady hit a shot or if Jalen McDaniels hit a shot. Like, it's not like, oh, I hit one shot, let me take over the offense. You are not him. Does Scottie need to do what he did to Quentin Grimes to you in practice? Honestly, I hope he does. And Scottie's a nice guy, so he'll give you the ball to initiate. At some point, trust me, Raptor fans, I watched this guy in youth level, Atlanta, OKC, Lakers. He is not a point guard. He is a combo guard who is very interesting in spurts and somewhat inconsistent and has shot selection issues and sometimes starts to feel himself. And he's very confident and he's a really good player, usually off your bench, but he is not some franchise savior point guard. Chill. The offense in the first 3 games has looked best when Scottie has initiated it. Okay? There was a play to start the game where Jakob Poeltl set a pick for Scottie. Scottie went right to the basket. Literally what I talked about in the live earlier today. Dennis Schroeder, defenses are not respecting you. Be an off-ball threat. He has already honestly blown my mind in terms of his three-point shooting efficiency so far. If he can limit some of this tunnel vision, how many shots did he miss at the rim? I just want to know. I mean, with Fred VanVleet, we said it was because he was short and he was stumpy and he was, he had short arms. What is Dennis's excuse? You're missing point blank layups and you're not even contested on some of these. And you're just laying it up. So yeah, technically, how can you say that a player, an NBA player taking an open layup, basically almost an open layup, like the nearest defender was barely contesting. How can you say that's not a great shot? So maybe the shot selection is not bad. It's just the finishing. The numbers are the numbers, man. And sometimes it's like, it's not even the blown layups that I have an issue with. It's like that one where he's kind of feeling himself and he's like posting up and then he gets blocked. It's like, cut that shit out. Cut it out. Like, you could be so good, man. Like, I like it. I like the point of attack defense. I like the compete level. I like the steadiness. There's been a lot of good with Dennis Schroeder so far, but cut this fucking MVP FIBA shit out. You're not him. That's not this game. You're not that player. This is not that league. Chill the shit out. You're not one of the top 3 players on your team. You should never do that shit. Like, don't go. It bothered me with Fred VanVleet. Anytime a point guard would score on him last year, he would start feeling himself and he'd try to come. He did it last night too. Fred did it last night for Houston. He had a guy open and he takes a stupid ass 3. And it's just like, bro, what do these guys have in their head that tells them this is a good shot? It's not a good shot. It's not a good shot. It's never going to be a good shot. Even if you hit it, it's a terrible shot. So I liked some of the shit that the Raptors did tonight, but some of the stuff was just wild and ridiculous. Okay, there are no callers. I can't believe there's 399 people here and there are no callers. Y'all just feeling what I'm saying, or you just don't want to talk about it? Link is in the description. Please call in if you would like. Let's break down the Sixers side of this. Joel Embiid, soft work, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks, 66% from the field. You remember his box scores against Nick Nurse-led Raptor teams? They were very inefficient. They didn't do too much to him tonight. Tyrese Maxey, 60% from the field. Honestly, man, like, what a difference OG Anunoby could have made tonight. Really, what a difference. It's like I mentioned earlier in our live that it was like OG and Scottie have basically been like Kawhi Leonard in peak form. And honestly, man, like tonight, you're missing one of those guys. And you got Gary Trent Jr., and he's not bad. He's not great. He's not bad. You need a little bit more. Grady's okay. He's not bad, but he's not OG Anunoby. I think you found something with Grady. Okay, we got a caller. Phew, thank God. Okay, FA from Charlotte. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I was just waiting for you to finish talking before I joined. I thought folks were ready. So,
All right,
let me let you finish before I join. I thought you were going to spend more time.
bro.
Oh my God.
35 minutes of just straight talking. Like this is my girlfriend was asking me earlier. She's like, "Do you get tired? Like, do you get tired of talking? Like, I hear you talking a lot." And I was just like,
I
"Bro,
was waiting for
I
you.
got a lot to say."
Waiting for you to finish the Pascal. Oh my God, what are we gonna do with Pascal? I'm getting the Vince Carter vibes when he kind of tuned out on Toronto. Like he just doesn't care.
Bro,
Like
Vince was never this bad. Don't do that. Vince was
what,
never
what,
-5
I'm,
box plus minus, bro. Like, don't
I'm
do
not talking
this.
about I'm not talking about the scores or whatever. I'm just talking about the demeanor and how he's acting, right? So like how can you take 8 shots, right? And you want to be all NBA, you want to have a super mass, you want to have that. Like, come on. Fast guy is literally averaging like is it like 14 points or 15 points this season? Like
Yeah.
it's gonna get to the point where you can't get that 20 points anymore because you're gonna be doing cash up all season. And I don't know. Well, I'm not sad about this game, right? Because schedule
hmm
loss anyways, because I like what I see for Grady. Like I told you last game, right? Gradey is one of the most intelligent players that we have, really high IQ. Apart from the scoring today, like all the things he does on the field, the relocation. There was one time when he relocated, just like Steph Curry or Clay Thompson to the right hand side.
I saw the
Uh,
same thing.
this guy had the ball. Would have just given him the ball. Was it Gary Trent? And
Yeah.
Gary Trent took it mid range and he missed the shot. So we have so many players with low IQ. Sorry to say, this guy
You,
Yakapoto,
bro, you
right?
don't have
Like
to be so sorry to say. It's okay.
Yakapoto, we literally traded the first round pick for him to come defend Joe Embiid, and I don't even want to talk about Yakapoto today because he plays so soft, trying to lay up the ball when he should have dunked the ball. Like, come on.
He did dunk one. Let me just get to some quick super chats here. Barnes and Siakam fits reminds me of DeRozan and Gay, better version from 319 Draco. Let's get those spare parts for Siakam. Go Raps. It's all good, boys. Noble Venom, thank you so much for the super chat. Tyrese Maxey is an absolute stud. It would be pretty insane if we could get him on the Raps one day. He is a perfect fit. Yeah,
We're not.
that would be a dream come true.
We're
Can you
not. We're
imagine
not.
Tyrese Maxey, Scotty Barnes, and Grady Dick? This would be like crazy. Pascal, Mike Eva sings Pascal hates Schroeder at point, and he's sulking about it. I saw him wave at the ground in disgust after not being looked at multiple times by Dennis. Yo, bro, I don't want to agree with Pascal Siakam, but I would be waving at the ground in disgust if I had a point guard like this too. Sometimes.
No, but
I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just saying, like, bro, it's really frustrating to watch Dennis Schroeder play point guard. You have a
yeah,
really
but
good point guard on your team. Like, what is he doing?
I think by the end of the season, Freeman Liberty is going to be a rotation player, hopefully, because he's better than most of
Feel
the
it.
folks that we're seeing today.
He is, man. He's so
Yeah,
like okay, I know it was preseason and I know it's the G League and I know it's summer league. Okay, but ball is ball. Okay. Read and react is read and react. I've never seen Javon Freeman Liberty have 3 minutes of basketball as stupid as some of the minutes that I've seen from some of these players. So give Javon a chance. I would be
a-
100% on board with that.
at least we have. They've given Grady a chance, so let's not complain yet. So maybe the time
Oh,
is coming for.
this was inevitable. I mean, honestly, like I listened to Samson Folk on Raptors Republic last night, and he was glowing up about Grady too. I talked to a friend of mine who's covering for the other team last night for Chicago, and he was just glowing about Grady. This was 2 minutes. Sorry, Grady played like 7 minutes or 8 minutes last night. Like he had very limited run, and we were all just glowing about him. So anyone who understands basketball on any level is just in love with this guy. I can't like you remember my draft day reaction. It was like, oh, and it's like dude, like I have fallen in love with this player. I think he's incredible. Like I can't say enough. Like everything he does on the basketball court helps you win basketball games. Like
And
the
imagine,
actualized version of him
uh-huh.
is fucking crazy.
Imagine when he gets stronger, right? Like when the ball goes up, he's going for the offensive rebound. It's moving like I think was it like Kobe Bryant that said that if you want to get if the way the ball bounces, right, just be around the top of the key there, you get enough rebounds in any game, and that's what Grady does. Once the ball goes out, Grady's around the key there. That if he can rebound the ball, he's tapping the ball out, right? Gives us a lot of second chance points and things like that. So. But Pascal, I think they should have traded him during the offseason. For yeah, they should have just get whatever you want for him now because the, his value is going down by the day, and I'm happy that Atlanta keeps losing. Maybe they can pull the trigger and give us one or two players that we want.
I don't know. He's just it hasn't clicked for him yet. I remain hopeful that he will figure it out at some point. But like, this shouldn't be that unfamiliar to Pascal, okay? Like it's not like he's never played an emotion offense before. Like what the fuck do you think the Raptors were running, in the championship run? Like this is not rocket
Exactly,
science.
exactly. And even apart from that, right? Just play with some efforts, right? When you get the ball, drive, pass, do something like I don't know. It plays so soft. It's just ridiculous. Like you said, Scott is gonna get burned out because like the only one like over trying, doing everything, rebounding, blocking shot, driving, and
Do you have
uh,
okay? Like, is it crazy right now to say if Pascal Siakam plays even if Pascal Siakam plays 50% better than he's played so far, would it be crazy to say Scotty's your best player right now?
I think
The
it's
gap is
obvious.
so freaking large right now between Scotty, OG, and Pascal that to me it is like quite absurd when I listen to really smart people say like, "Oh, he's definitely your best player." Big difference between definitely your best player and definitely your most skilled player, skilled, refined, scorer, experienced, whatever. You can ascribe a lot of things, but best is not one of them so far. Early in the season, 3-game sample size. I haven't looked at his analytics after tonight. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow because there's no game and I can finally do some film study. Oh
I
my
think if you
god.
if you want to rank the players right now, Scotty for sure, nobody close. Then number two is OG. He could, apart from the offense or wherever, OG obviously is making his shot. Then OG's been shutting folks down, right? Look at when then DeRozan, OG got hot yesterday, and what happened to DeRozan? DeRozan was just scoring at will. So it is.
Yeah.
Then I think Porter need to go to the bench and come from the bench, and yeah, you can see when it
Bro,
was.
I don't know about starting Precious Achua. I think you're fucked. I mean, you
I'm not gonna start Patricia Sure. I'll play small ball.
so you're gonna run Scotty at center or OG
Uh,
at center or Pascal at center. I mean, you have to
yeah,
play somebody there.
I'll just be moved. Yeah, I'd rather do that than having Precious Ashura because Ashura it's like
Jakob hasn't been bad. I mean, he was bad tonight. He hasn't been bad I mean, he hasn't been great either. Like analytics, he's an analytics darling. He's always been an analytics darling. Ever since he was a rookie, he was an analytics darling. He hasn't been one this year at all. But he's been
yeah.
better than most, which is worth noting because it can get worse. And one thing I will say with Jakob, yeah, he left a couple bunnies. He may have tweaked his ankle. I don't know.
I think he tweaked his ankle when he tried to make a layup on. It wasn't a layup, it was a floater on Embiid, and that's something that Embiid does all the time. If you go watch when they show the replay, right? He's a dirty player, whether you like it, he's a really dirty player. He moves his foot under him, and Jakob tweaked his ankle, but before then, he wasn't playing any better anyway. So I'm not going to defend him, but he's played well, but it's not. I think we overpaid him. It's not.
No,
I think we
no,
overpaid.
dude.
Yes, we
Oh my
did.
god.
We
No, no, no,
overpaid
no.
him.
We're talking about different things. Oh my god. No,
I'm gonna
Fa,
call it that.
you're not paying
Nobody.
attention to what I'm bro. You're not paying attention to what I'm saying at all. You're laughing, but you don't understand what I'm saying. Hold on, I'm going to pull it up on the screen for you to see. Hang on, everyone. One minute.
I'm watching. can get some big body out there if that's what we want. Then we can play some sport minutes.
Sorry, man. I'm gonna have to let you go. Something has happened. Okay.
Sure.
Yep. This has been confirmed that Friends actor Matthew Perry has passed away at the age of 54. Oh my god. Fuck. I can't believe I'm reading this. Hang on, I'm just gonna pull. Oh my god. I'm just gonna pull up the article, guys. I'm sorry. I know this is a basketball live, but if you're in my demographic, this guy meant a lot to you growing up. Give me 1 minute. Oh my god. No. Sorry, I'll give me 1 second just to. Fuck. I've been seeing a lot of his weight gain and some of his the Friends reunion stuff, and it was just like, I've known a lot of comedians in my life, and I know how many of them sometimes go through a lot of pain. Okay. Sorry, I was talking to a really notorious comedian who's on the come up right now, and we were talking about, what he'd gone through when he was a kid, and he said that he does what he does because he just wants to make people happy because he's so sad. And it's deep, it's heavy, but he just wants to be able to give people a little bit of laughter. And that's sort of the tragedy of every, I think, most comedians out there, whether it be Robin Williams, whether it be Matthew Perry. So rest in peace, Matthew Perry. I apologize for everybody who's listening to this for basketball takes and has been somewhat derailed by, just an actor that I really enjoyed a lot in my childhood. His movies, his TV shows. Something about Friends that I must say, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but when I clean, it's just something that makes you feel like less alone. Does that make sense? Like, you just put it on and you hear the laugh track and you hear the jokes, and they're not the greatest jokes anymore, and you've heard them 1,000 times, but somehow you feel like you're part of something. I don't know. So rest in peace, Matthew Perry, and I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry for disrupting a basketball live to talk about this, but yeah, it just kind of came up. Okay. Sorry, Fa. If you wanted to call back, if you're still listening, I can certainly, we can close off. I'm sorry to cut you off as abruptly. It's just, it didn't seem like I was able to communicate to you what was happening properly. Bring on the next caller, Coach Mo. Coach Mo, what's up, man? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. We all watch Friends, so but
Yeah.
one thing FA talked about was bringing Jakob to the bench. That only leaves two options. Boucher, you can't start Precious. It's just you can't do it. He's playing too poorly to start him. Boucher can't play center for obvious reasons, and you can't wear out. Siakam can't play center. He's too slim. So that leaves two options.
Do you know that Pascal Siakam weighs more than OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes, according to the media release?
Okay,
Weighs 242 pounds.
I've seen him guard centers. It doesn't.
So have I.
It doesn't work. So that leaves you two options: Scotty Barnes or OG Anunoby. And I refuse to wear out the two best players so far this season. It's not good asset management to just abuse them in the center position. It just is not a good idea,
I agree.
and it's not going to work long term. So it's just wear and tear for marginal movement,
Yeah.
But what's funny about you're talking about Dennis? It made me think about the time Anthony Davis was upset following the 2021 season because Davis was frustrated. He wasn't getting the same kind of looks in the post with Dennis running point guard compared to Rondo. Like it was like a significant drop off, and he was complaining the alley oops weren't good, and it was like he basically said, "Get this," That's after he kind of like botched the extension. So it just made me think of that. Like he's not a point guard. I remember there was one specific possession in this game. Scottie has Maxi on him, and Dennis does the Jakob Dennis pick and roll, and then he just shoots a pull up three. And I'm like, yo, this guy, this is your point guard? Like this, he's not a floor general. And I'm thinking of guys like Andre Miller. I'm thinking of guys like Chris Paul. I'm like, they surge Chauncey Billups. They're just mismatch hunters. And then when there isn't a good mismatch, they run the offense. But it's like, no, we're going to halt the offense, and we're taking advantage of this. But there's no game managers on our team. It's only Scottie.
I talked about it all off season. This Dennis hype and people saying he's better than Fred, and I'm like, bro, it's the same. It's the same point guard, different skin, different skill sets, whatever. And my hope was that, hey, Fred had that whole championship legacy. He had the relationship with Nurse. You know what I mean? Like he was put on a pedestal and he was allowed to do things. And I was like, I hope that doesn't happen this year with Darko. And he doesn't have any pedigree or, lineage within this offense. And then the first night he's starting over Gary Trent Jr. And I'm like, well, that's not warranted because he's not a better player than Gary Trent Jr. And now, he's getting to call his own shot and he's talking about leading the team. Bro, the minute I heard him say, I'm coming here to be a leader, I was already puking in my mouth. Look, you can be a leader like Patty Mills led the Spurs, but have some humility about who the fuck you are. And this pisses me off because it's like, bro, like this is not some, it's not like Kyle Lowry. Like when Kyle Lowry came here, he was 26 years old and he hadn't been given quite the huge opportunity. But I tell you, Kyle Lowry in his worst year was better than Dennis Schroeder in his best year.
Yeah.
At that point.
Then
Lowry he became like 50 times better.
Lowry now is better.
He is better.
Right now, he's better. Just off decision making.
100%. Just off decision making. Like people who were just gassing up Dennis, after the first game, and they're going crazy about him, and it's just like, bro, like
he didn't play that well. He made shots.
He made shots.
Those shots don't go in.
Exactly.
Like, what if those threes didn't go in the fourth?
Right. And I mean, you're right now. He's shooting out of his mind, and we're complaining. Can you just imagine if he's not shooting out of his mind? Like what would we be talking about right now? Would we be talking like start Javon Freeman Liberty over him? Would we start?
I truly believe Freeman Liberty will get playing time. The reason why Grady played, what did he play, 28 minutes, and he's going to get a lot of minutes. It's partly due because he's playing so well and he's high IQ, but it's also partly because this team, they're just a bunch of players who make so many mistakes. Like he's just a shining light compared to what's around him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if Freeman gets on the court, if Freeman Liberty plays 2 consecutive minutes, he's going to be a shining light too. It's just going to be so obvious next to Flynn or Achua or Boucher when guys are making that many mistakes. Like it gets to a point where, do you want to win the game? Like, are you actually trying to win basketball games? I know it's only the third game, but if you're actually trying to win basketball games, yeah, Grady needs to be close to 30 minutes a night if you actually want to win.
That's crazy to say, though, right? And I mean, like, you are giving up shit on defense with him because it's not like he's a bad defender, but he's also not a good defender. And he's playing in front of, like, who's he playing over? If he's playing over Gary, then I think you're getting So Gary and Grady, I think, work very well together.
Yeah.
I hope that they get minutes together because they're different types of spacers. They space differently, but they both space effectively.
Mhm.
Grady is like coming off of screens and pin downs, and he can curl, and his entire game is one dribble or less. It's incredible. But what I like about him, did you see how he manipulated the defense?
Yep.
Dude, I remember I used to watch Muggsy Bogues do this. I was like, this is crazy because I'm about to compare Grady Dick to Muggsy Bogues, and I don't want to, but I'm gonna. Muggsy used to do this crazy thing, and I remember once Vince was talking about it too, where Muggsy would be like looking up, and he would do this, like, or he would look one way, and he would have the whole fucking court dart their eyes the way he was darting his eyes. Grady did the same thing today. And he had his defender turned. He had me turned. He had everybody turned because he had such a convincing, I think it was a shot fake and then a drive. And then there was one, it was a pass fake. He is so, the composure level, the confidence level, the self-assuredness. I mean, you're
Never
coming
takes
in.
a bad shot, even though he's
Never,
on fire.
number
Even
one,
if he's
never
on
takes a
fire,
bad shot,
never
never
forces it.
rushes, never changes his form. He took, I mean, look, there's a lot of pressure now. Okay. You're a rookie, you're top 13 pick, you're a lottery pick. Okay. That comes with pressure. That, you've been hyped to hell. You're in a Drake music video, whatever. You're all over IG, you're all over TikTok, and you're fucking drawing like I mentioned this before in one of the lives, apart from Victor Wembanyama, this is the one rookie who has the biggest spotlight on him because he drew it to himself by wearing that suit. I tell you, there's two types of rookies that do this: the worst ones and the best ones. They have something in common. I don't know why. They all want attention. The best ones, they welcome the attention because they know that they're good enough to warrant it. The worst ones, they want the attention because they know they're not good enough to warrant it. The ones that fade away, those are the ones that never stick. But to me, I got a feeling at draft night that if this guy is wearing this suit and the way he's talking and the way he's just so himself, it's so self-assured, and you have so much pressure, and you've played 2 games, you have 2 GP next to your career average, and you have 0 points per game. You are absolutely bottom worst, probably in the league in terms of box plus minus and efficiency, given how this offense is going and the fact that you haven't contributed a single point. And you keep getting quick hooks. Like every time you're like 2 minutes in, you're getting a hook, or 3 minutes in, you're getting a hook. There's absolutely a psychological component of this where a lot of shooters start to rush their shot. They start to take shots a little bit off angle. They start to take the wrong shots. They start passing up shots. I can't tell you how perfect a decision maker this guy is. I'm so glad Darko Rajakovic talked about it in the postgame. I mean, I feel like I'm gushing over, like a crush or something. Like I cannot believe how good a basketball player this guy is at this age. It's not it. Yeah, the skill work is great. It will get much, much better for sure. I mean, he's 19 years old. The experience will get better. The reps, the strength, all of that shit will get better. It's just his processing speed.
And that's the hardest part. That's why Barnes is so good. The hardest part they already have. The hardest part. They're already more impactful players than Achua, who's given all gifts God can give. But the best thing is between the ears. That's the reason Jokic is so much better than Embiid. That's the main difference. There's nothing else that separates them. It's the process. It's the processor. That's it.
I mean, actually, Embiid is so much more gifted than Nikola Jokic. But one thing, Jokic has that Embiid doesn't have: balance and coordination. And this is one thing that I say Grady has as well.
Well,
He is incredibly on balance. Do you know, like this is one thing. Like, I mean, unless he gets bumped in the air going up for a layup or something, he is not off balance ever.
You know the guy, a lethal shooter. There's the guy who's famous on Instagram. He works.
Oh yeah, shit. Of course I know him.
Okay, yes. He talked about there's a curse with quick twitch players like Russell Westbrook, because the hardest thing to teach is guys who are really quick and athletic to stop and pull up and shoot with a soft touch. So there's actually a gift in not being extremely athletic, where you're not going 1,000 miles per hour and you have to stop. So it's a gift and a curse, right?
Right.
That's why he has a softer touch to a degree, Jokic, because he's never going that fast, where he doesn't have to like control the ball, and like when LeBron is going 1,000 miles per hour and touches it up the backboard softly, like that's insanity.
You talking about Chris Matthews, right?
No,
Like when you said Elito shooter on Instagram, the guy was Chris Matthews, right?
yeah, that's him.
You know what's funny? So I'd heard about him before, but I didn't know he was big on Instagram. He liked one of my stories the other day, and that's when I was like, oh shit. It's because he's friends with he's friends with Brian Inge. So Brian shared my stories, then he clicked on it and liked it. It was the one about Jeff. I was like, holy shit. He's awesome. Yo, anyone out there, go follow him on Instagram, man. It's dope content. Like just incredible shooting insights, how to prepare for a shot and all that stuff. So I mean, really cool dude. Yeah. He had like 2.5 million fucking followers. I was like blown away. I'm like, I knew of this guy way back when. I had no idea he was blown up on Instagram. That's crazy. Anyways, any takeaways? Any positives other than Grady and Scottie that you saw? Did you see positivity from Malachi, Precious, anything?
Well, Malachi, I don't think Malachi played well, but compared to his first 2 games, yeah, way better. But he can't be asked to make decisions. Like he has to be a finisher. He has to be like
just like Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, he can't. It's ugly. Like him trying to read the game. It's just. By the way, I just want to say this about Pascal. Oh my goodness, forget the effort and everything. Like when he grabs a rebound off the backboard, I swear the gap between him and Achua is not that big. Like he grabs a rebound and it's like he looks up the court and he just waits half a second and everything's gone. All the advantage is gone. It's all gone. Precious gets the rebound, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. We're going to struggle to score because he got the rebound.
Dennis loses the advantage all the time, too. All the time. You know what? Like, I mean, you know what? Last year, I made like a lot of low-light films, and I hope that it exposed for the fan base what I'm talking about. I'm going to make an epic one for the first 3 games because there's so much content.
No, you need to do a video. If you're going to do a video of what happens when certain players grab a rebound in advantageous situations. That's what you need to do. It is mind-boggling.
I was gonna do a comparison between Dennis and Scottie initiating possessions because like yesterday I was listening to Samson's podcast and he's been on a tirade all offseason that this offense cannot work because they don't have shooters. And I don't want to misquote him because he is someone that I respect, but I just completely disagreed with this. And I talked to another couple of analysts that I talked to about this, and they also feel as he does. It's pretty much unanimous. The Raptors are going to be a shit shooting team. So yeah, there's a little bit of me that's like very, very proud that they shot 53% from 3, 60% from above the break today. However, there's also a part of me that knows that this is not sustainable. However, right now, if you actually took account of the entire NBA, the Raptors are one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the NBA right now per percentages. Well, I know it's 3 games, but my point is like shit is not working, and somehow you're managing to shoot threes. And Jalen McDaniels, who you signed to shoot threes, hasn't made a single one yet. And it's not like you're getting some unsustainable burst from somebody. I think Scottie is shooting around 34-35% right now. I think he's fully capable of doing that for the year. I mean, the only person who's kind of at an unsustainable high right now is Dennis Schroeder. I don't think he can sustain this for an entire year. But apart from him, pretty much, I think you could. I was very encouraged by the 3 that Malachi hit today. Very encouraged.
That's a makeable shot. It's a very
makeable shot. And the first time I watched him do it, like I was like, oh, he didn't think about it.
No,
maybe he was like,
it's created for him. The decision was made for him.
100%. It's a 2 guard. He's a fucking 2 guard. I'm sick and tired of because he's short. There's a temptation to put him at the 1. There's such a temptation.
I was actually complaining about this to my brother today. I was like, just because you're short doesn't mean you're a point guard.
Thank God. Yeah.
Just because you're quick doesn't mean you're a point guard. You should be making decisions for the team.
This was my issue on the whole Fred VanVleet thing last year when I started that bullshit, like YouTube beef with Chev, because I just felt like, some people had it in their mind because they are super short.
It's like, I can dribble. I'm point guard. I'm around 6 feet tall. I'm point guard. It's
Bro, Larry Brown figured this out so early. Allen Iverson was max 5'11 and a half. I've met him before. He's not like he was like. I met Allen Iverson. He was like right here. I'm 5'10 and a half, 5'11 and a half. I don't know. He was like my height. I guarantee you was my height. And he was a shooting guard. And that was the one thing that Larry Brown did that made them that got them to the finals. He took the ball out of his hands and said, "You will be a scorer. We'll allow you to be that. We'll give you a traditional, bigger, guy who can guard, some twos, some ones." Because obviously, like, there were a lot of swing men at the league that were about 6'6" at the time. I mean, like, that's what you got to do with these guys, man. These combo guards who don't have the gamesmanship. They're not Kyle Lowry, right? They don't have that Lowry thing.
What happened to players like Lowry? He's older. Andre Miller, Chauncey Billups, Chris Paul, who's now older. Steve Nash. Like, what happened to those game managers? Like, what happened to those guys?
Basketball IQ is just not taught the way it used to be, man. It's just not taught.
Like, these guys knew time. These guys knew score. These guys knew who needed a shot, who should get a shot, matchups, shot.
They still exist. I mean, Josh Giddey's like that. Scottie's like that. This is a new wave of point guard. Who else is like that? Wemby's like that. I know he's a center, but Wemby is very, very guard oriented in his brain. He is basically a 7'4" point guard. Who else is like that? Not really Steph. Steph thinks shoot first. Dame thinks shoot first, but they're not bad game managers. I don't know. I mean, Tyrese is like that. What are you fucking talking about? Tyrese Halliburton, bro.
Yes, him.
Tyrese Halliburton's like that. Andrew Nembhard has some of those qualities too. The Pacers have an abundance of riches there. There are point guards like this. But look, like, they teach you early on right now that, if you're a point guard, you need to be able to score. You need to be able to put pressure on the rim. You need to be able to score. You need to be able to shoot. So I just think that, a lot of guys got that in their head that, and look, Jeff Doughton, he's a pure point guard.
Look at TJ McConnell.
He's a pure point guard.
That dude runs the team. That dude runs the second unit.
He does, but he can't shoot.
He can't shoot, that dude he's a low error player.
He's really good.
He just can't shoot.
I don't mind, like, running I don't mind a dynamic guard like a Tyrese Maxey or someone like this who thinks score first if you have sufficient playmaking somewhere on your roster. If you have a Kyle Anderson or if you have a Nikola Jokic, the fuck do I care if your point guard can initiate the offense or not? By all means, play Bones Highland if he works out for you, Lonzo Ball is another guy who is like what you're talking about. So this is not a dying breed. It's just an injured breed right now. But I mean, like, Lonzo, Tyrese, Josh Giddey, Scotty Barnes. This is the next wave of game managers in the NBA. Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama. These are like top end playmakers in terms of young players that I can think of. I'm sure there are so many others. There are others for sure. As I said, Andrew Nembhard.
Last thing I want to say, they need to run Gradey and Trent with Pascal and Scotty Barnes as much as possible. Like, Pascal's struggling. He just needs space, because I'm watching Maxey like absolutely wreck us, but they're spacing on the court. Like, he has room even in half court. I agree with you, Pascal. He's being way too passive. But again, it's just too congested, and he doesn't work in tight spaces as well as Barnes. To me, he doesn't.
Yo, you want to see the craziest comment I think I've ever seen in my life? Aaron Baines is better than Jakob Poeltl. Bro, you need to check yourself. Do you remember Aaron Baines, man? Like, are you kidding me right now? I understand we're like
Aaron Baines got a Scotty Barnes.
He
got a Scotty Barnes.
So bad, bro. Don't do this. Jakob Poeltl is 100 times better than Aaron Baines. Okay. Any final thoughts? We got 2 more callers, so let's just get to that.
I mean, sit Schroeder and start Grady.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
I swear. Just if we learned anything from last year, stop slowing down or containing development of your future. There's no point in doing it. There's absolutely no point.
There's absolutely no point in doing it. Grady's not up for an extension for the next 3 years. If he pops up for you, that means somebody else that's extension eligible has worse stats. Like, it actually is a win-win from a business standpoint too. You want Scottie and Grady, the 2 guys that you are definitely 100,000% going to extend at some point, unless somebody gets injured. Like, these are 2 guys who are in your program for 6 years, minimum.
And there's no one that can ever convince me Barnes got this much better over the offseason. There's no way.
Didn't. This is what I'm talking about.
There's no way he got that much better.
I'm gonna tell you. Okay, I'll share something with you because I like you so much. Okay, I'll share something with you. So I was talking to somebody who would know very, very much and about Scotty, and I said, I don't think I think he's around 25%. Like, I think this is 25%. Do you agree? He said probably less.
Of what he was than last year.
No, of what he will be.
Oh, okay.
So if the cup at full is Scotty in his prime, what you're watching right now, according to someone who would know even better than I, and I don't make that statement lightly because I follow everything that Scotty Barnes does. So someone who would know better than me about Scotty's entire development and everything he can do is saying this is less than 25% of fully realized Scotty. So this is like Jason Tatum in third year kind of shit, and like Jason Tatum versus sixth year. It's like Jason Tatum in third year was like 27 to 35% of what he became.
Yeah.
Now, and Jason Tatum right now might still be like 75% of what he'll eventually be at peak.
He's further along. Tatum needed more of a physical frame, but
Tatum has a physical frame. He's taller than Scotty by like maybe half an inch, but I think what Tatum lacked was playmaking and handle, and he's gotten that now, and it's just unlocking the shooting. What Scotty lacks is the skills, and that will unlock his playmaking. I mean, right now, what I'm watching, this was the best Scotty Barnes game I think I've ever seen in my life.
That mid-range game tonight, the one where he faked one way and faded the other way, I was like, was that Michael Jordan? Was that Kawhi Leonard? It looked exactly the same. That shimmy fade, it looks smoother than any mid-range move Pascal ever did in his entire life.
I don't know about that, but it's
that
not there yet.
That one move with absolute confidence.
The one where he shook Kelly Oubre?
Pascal, he's always off balance. He's always stumbling half the time. He gets knocked off his spot. Like,
you have a point. But I just want to say Pascal scored 52 points. Let's not act like he's a bum,
Of course.
Pascal's had some incredible moments, but I agree that what Scotty's doing right now, he's unstoppable.
Scotty has more. His greatness will be more sustainable. It can be tapped in more consistently.
I agree. All right. Peace, man. Have a good one. And on to the next one for the Raptors. Peace, man. All right. We got V. V, thank you so much for holding, man. I think it's your first time calling and you ended up holding for an hour. I apologize. How's it going? Your mic is off. You got to put your mic on.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, sorry. Trying to be respectful, but I forgot about the mic.
No worries. How's it going?
Man, good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Oh, man. The Coach Mo pretty much said everything I wanted. Dude, Grady needs to start, dude.
He's really good. I'm impressed. I'm blown away. He's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only 3 games in, right? But Schroeder needs to be like general for the bench mob. I think Poeltl needs to also go to the bench, man. They should use him as like a.
Who would you start though? I mean, Chris Boucher is inconsistent. Precious Achiuwa has honestly the IQ of a grapefruit right now in terms of basketball IQ. Christian Koloko is out. Well, who do you start? Do you play small?
You go with Scotty at center.
See, I hate that, and yet he is your best option. Now. You know what's crazy? I mean, when Brian said last year, I don't know if you've been following this channel for a long time, but during the interview, we were talking with Scotty's trainer, Brian, and we were talking about, the type of player he can be. And he said, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. It's some crazy shit. You're never going to see this type of player before. And, every trainer kind of feels that way about some of their clients, and some gas them up and whatever. But I felt like I knew exactly what he was talking about. Right now, Scotty's your best point guard, best shooting guard, best small forward, best power forward, best center.
Yeah, and he's strong, dude.
Could you say that about any other player other than LeBron James in his prime? Like, I can't. I mean, maybe like LeBron in his prime would be your best center option. Yeah, on most teams, your best. Yeah, it's like literally LeBron. Like, that's the only other player that I can think of where I could have said that about him. And I know Scotty's nowhere close to LeBron right now, and I get that. Please don't try to clip this out of context. But right now, he is putting up like all-star numbers. He's at all-star impact. He's at all defensive plus all-star impact. And tonight, he cut down the turnovers. His gamesmanship, I don't think the box score even comes close to matching it. And you're right. he might be your best option at center because he can stretch the floor now, apparently. 27-foot
I mean,
three-pointer.
honestly, I think he always could have shot like 33 clip. You know, like last season was like a disaster. Like,
I think it was just the ankle, the tendonitis, the offense, the health. But look, like, I mean, I caught a lot of flack on Twitter. I mean, I'm very happy. First of all, big shout outs to Chris Walden for sharing my post on Scotty Barnes. I mean, it really, I mean, look, we're a very small Twitter channel, and him sharing that post got a ton of, traction, and people were sharing it. And it's basically like, I'm on, like, it's funny, like after last night's game, he puts on a triple double. We say like star qualities. Stars know when the spotlight is on them. National games, playoff games.
yeah, for
Stars
sure.
understand this is when everyone's watching. This is when the moments, it's like most people don't watch Pascal Siakam all year. They don't. People are not watching Pascal Siakam versus Charlotte. They don't fucking care. Pascal Siakam national television, Pascal Siakam first round playoffs. That people are watching, right? So these are the moments. These are the highest leverage moments for your career, for your brand, for your next contract, for your endorsement deals. And the spotlight of the world was on Scotty Barnes right now.
Yeah, I mean,
I guarantee you, everyone's checking his box score today because they're like, everyone's gassing him up for the fucking triple double. He cannot come out and score 7 points and 4 rebounds today because everyone will clown it. Everyone will clown it. And you do that too many times, people lose faith. So he followed up what I think was a good-ish game, maybe an average game yesterday, despite the triple double. I don't rate it. He followed it up with a great game. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, right now the way I see it is, he basically became like a must pick for like a fantasy league too. He's showing people that he has like that superstar stat line. But the thing is, like, he always had it though, right? Like, cause like he was like the best fourth quarter performer since like he came in like as a rookie.
He's been good, and there's this guy who texted me. His name's Ty Cornfield. I hope Ty doesn't mind that I'm sharing this. He sent me a parlay at the beginning of this game, and it was Scotty Barnes over half a block, Dennis Schroeder for a 3, Pascal for a 3, Pascal plus 5 rebounds, Scotty plus 5 rebounds, Scotty plus 5 assists, Scotty plus 10 points, and Dennis Schroeder plus 3 assists. And he said, "What do you think of this parlay? Because I've been on a bit of a hot streak tonight, not included at all." And I was just like, I don't like betting on non-3-point shooters to hit 3-point shots. And then Pascal hit one, and Dennis Schroeder hit one, and then basically the only thing that was left on his parlay was Scotty. Everything was Scotty associated. And he messaged me at halftime. He's like, "I'm gonna love Scotty no matter what." Like, it's like I'm missing rebounds, missing points, missing everything. And I was like, "Don't worry, he got you. He's gonna have a huge second half." And then boom, like gangbusters, he just comes out, and it's just, again, it's like, this is a high leverage game because it's a bit of a rivalry. You're playing against your old coach, a lot of attention. This is a huge, marketed game in terms of like Raptor fans, like how much you're paying to go to this game. This is the game that you actually pay to go to. This is not like your Charlottes and your Atlantas. Like, you pay $300-400 to go to this game. So you're giving the fans a show, And I mean, like, I don't know. If you were a fan who went tonight, call in. Let me know what you thought about the energy in the building when he was going off. But I feel like if I was watching this game live, I did not go to tonight's game, I would have felt like I got my money's worth tonight.
Because like in the end, like that 13, like I think he scored like 13 or like 12, like in the fourth, right? He just fucking went on like a whole like run by himself, which was needed too, because we were just like not scoring at that point. And then it's like, okay, someone needs to step up, and he did, which is great. But back to the whole thing about Grady needs to start though. Like, I think you start like Jakob like to start in the beginning, just so you can have kind of like the big man against the big man, and then maybe like near the end, like sub him off like after like 3-4 minutes. I mean, probably like 4 minutes. Get Scotty in, get him play the like point center position, and then start using Jakob as like a piece to like counter him once in a while. Like,
the problem with your suggestion is that this puts Pascal with the second unit or Jakob with the second unit. And while that might be an okay theory, and maybe you're right, maybe because my theory was Scotty's synergy is so great with somebody with the bench. He has natural synergy with Gary, Grady, Otto, if he ever plays, Precious, Boucher, all of these players. Like, if I was designing an offense around Scotty Barnes, I would put better versions of all these players around him. So And he doesn't have a lot of natural synergy with the starting lineup unless they play differently. Like if Dennis Schroeder does what he did for the better parts of today, like he just stands, catch, shoot, move, great. Secondary creator. When Dennis Schroeder pounds the ball, he's not a good Scotty Barnes teammate. It's the same thing with Siakam. If Siakam could just do the Karl Anthony Towns thing, and I talked about this last year too, for him to extend his career, he needs to become a guy who takes 8 threes a game. Above the break, corner, whatever. Find 2 places on the court that you are unstoppable where you can space the court. Kind of like do the OG Anunoby thing. Do a little
Yeah,
less of this.
he did that like with Kawhi too, and he did it pretty well. Like just
In
like
the corner. He was
yeah, in the
37%
corner.
from a corner. He was
Yeah,
great.
exactly. Yeah.
So he can do it. Like he
Yeah.
should, and he definitely should do it because it would be for the best of this team. Because it would create a very powerful, potent attack. Like you imagine Scottie in the mid post, Pascal in the corner, or above the break, and invert it with Dennis Schroeder at the top or the corner. You can basically flip them whenever you want, and then you have maybe. And then it's just like the question is like, what do you do with Jakob, right? So maybe Jakob is a screener for Gradey off the ball. Right. So that's basically all of everything is basically predicated around Jakob as a screener, Grady as the movement shooter, Scottie as the decision maker, Dennis and Pascal, or Dennis and OG, or OG and Pascal as spacers. This could work brilliantly, in my opinion, my humble opinion as a basketball person.
Man, there's so much to talk about, right? But even like in the fourth quarter, I think it was Jakob. It was like an off screen, and then Grady gets like free for like a open 3, like just, and man, that was like probably one of my favorite plays like of the night. Like,
I agree.
The off screen like read, it's just like, man, it's a simple basketball shit, but like. Oh man, it was just great to see, you know. And
you'd love to say it's simple, but it's like it's almost not that simple, right? Like it's simple. Yeah, you're right. It's fully simple. If you understand the game of basketball, if you're good at read and react shit, if you have a good instinct for basketball, it's super simple. But then it's like, if it's so simple, why don't they do it? You know what I mean?
Man, it's a tunnel vision. I guess it's the NBA pace. Like fourth quarter is everyone's tired, you know. I don't know, man, but that's literally when I was like, okay, this kid needs to start. I mean, I was thinking about it like last game as well, and I was gonna call in just to like kind of do a controversial take because I've been thinking about it for a while. And then like after today, I was like, you know what, no. And also the bench needs to go deeper, man. Darko needs to like confidently go 10-man, 12-man deep, and just experiment.
Man. Wow.
Yeah, man. Like
that's hot take territory.
Yo, remember like first year, like Nick Nurse, he used to go like 12-man deep, like. He used to do crazy like rotations, like experimenting, and then by the playoffs, he had a solid like 6, and then like maybe like 8 stretch, right? But
I think like it's one of those things where I have to sometimes like I have a very favorable opinion of Darko Rajakovic overall. I've disagreed with a lot of things that he's done over the first game, but like first 3 games actually. But I have a favorable opinion of him overall as a coach, as an NBA coach. And one of the things I was realizing yesterday, or when I was talking so much shit about Grady, it's not Grady, Malachi, was maybe he understands something about coaching, teaching, humanity, human beings, how people respond to things that I just don't understand. And, you see Malachi play well today and you're like, okay, he trusted him.
I don't know, man.
and hey, like, I mean, this is about as good as he's played. And if you can build on this.
He got some shots in, right? But
I don't even care about the shots going in. My issue with Malachi has never been him missing shots. My issue with him is being scared scared of his own shadow on the basketball court, being indecisive, being slow, bumping into players. I mean, he did that too a little bit today. It helped a little bit that a shot went in. It wasn't like some stellar performance. It's not like he went off, right? Like, let's not be crazy here. But yeah. Anyways, any final thoughts? We have 3 callers waiting. So
yeah. I guess just on the subject of Malachi, man, that kid used to be like a good pick and roll player in college. I don't know what happened. I actually like liked him in college. I thought he was like, decent defender. I mean, he was actually a pretty good defender, great pick and roll player.
He was defensive player of the year, wasn't he?
Right, yeah. But you know what? I think it's done, dude. Like, we need to like trade a lot of guys. and he needs. I
Well,
think he needs to be part of the package.
Can you imagine
But,
how badly we'd feel about this season if the two guys that were not popping off were Grady and Scotty? It could be a lot worse. So I'm very happy. Like, imagine if this right now we're in the same position, but the guys who are doing super well are Thad and Jakob and
Right.
Pascal. You know what I mean? You feel very differently about your future. Right now, it's your 22-year-old and your 19-year-old who are like classes ahead in terms of just in terms of compete level, in terms of preparedness, in terms of composure. And I mean, it's not easy to play when your offense is stalling the way the Raptors have played. Anyways, thanks
Yeah.
a lot for calling in, man. I think this was your first time calling in, so I
Yeah,
really
it
appreciate
is.
Yeah,
Yeah, all
cheers,
right.
man.
Peace.
Have a good one. Peace. Bye. Okay, I want to quickly go to, we have 3 callers waiting. I hope you guys can be patient. I want to just go to a Scotty Barnes post game so we can hear what Scotty had to say. There are a lot of people, who had post game interviews. I'm just going to go with Scotty because we've been talking about him, unless Grady had a post game or something that I don't know about. I'll try to download that while Scotty's talking. And then we will go to Raptors Truth Teller, Danish, and Maroon Prince calling again. So just bear with me for I don't know, I think it's like 5 minutes, and we're just going to hear from your boy Scotty Barnes. Okay.
Coach on the other sideline.
I don't know. I didn't really look over there that much. I was
He's so funny.
focused on the game. But I don't know. Good to see him, I guess.
Changing your words or anything like that?
No, not really.
If you ever need an insight into that relationship,
I
this
didn't
is
really
it.
see him when he walked in, or I wasn't really looking over there. I really just focused on the game, trying to win.
Was there any added motivation or anything among the team to beat your former coach?
Nah, it's just trying to go out there and win. Try to beat these guys. Just try to get back on the right track. Just got to come out there next game and play better, play harder, and try to go out there and win.
Tough third quarter. Did it feel or look like there were some heavy legs out there? Second night of a back-to-back.
I don't really know about that. I don't think so. They got some calls. They made some shots. They adjusted to our defense a little bit. It's a game of runs, and they're gonna score some. But we just got to be better, keep defending. It's on us, we just got to get better from this and go out there next game and execute on both ends of the floor.
Did you make some progress from last night? It's always the same, but it didn't feel quite as...
We had a lot of good moments in our last game. We just didn't really come out that dub. We had a lot of mistakes as well. But at least we cut down on turnovers, I guess. But, I cut down a lot of mine, too. I had a lot of turnovers last one. But, it was just going out there executing on both ends of the floor. I feel like that's what our main thing is. They had 114 points. They had a big third quarter. Just got to keep defending throughout the whole game. Stay locked in. And keep making adjustments.
Still early, obviously, but aside from the first half last night, you guys as a team have shot the ball, 3-ball really well. I know you put a lot of work into it. The team over the summer put a lot of work into it individually and collectively. How encouraging is that?
Our coaches, they always tell us, Darko, our assistant coaches as well, go out there and stay confident throughout the whole entire game. Even when we were missing that last game, Darko just continually telling us to go out there, shoot the ball, be confident in our shot. It's going to fall. So that's what they preach every day in practice, and that's what we work on all the time. So just going out there and shooting the ball and being confident. I feel like it gives everybody confidence out there. When they shoot it, we all feel like it's going to go in.
This was sort of the first game Grady really got going. Can you feel things loosening up for the whole offense when he starts to provide that aspect?
And he was really good for us today, making shots, being able to play some defense. So he did great things for us today, getting out there in transition, extending the defense. He was great for us today.
Is that the kind of player that you have that kick-out pass, you like to get into the paint, that playing alongside a guy like that, does that really help your game?
I feel like it helps our team in general, not just mine. I feel like it helps everybody. You got me, I get into the paint. Dennis can get into the paint. Pascal get into the paint. Precious is a big body that get into the paint. OG can get into the paint. So we got a lot of guys that like going downhill, and when we be able to extend the floor with the kickouts, it just helps everybody extend their game, and it forces the defense to extend.
Are you surprised that, I don't know how close you pay attention to the numbers this early in the season, but the half-court offense has struggled by the numbers. It's not necessarily slow possessions, it's just so far a difficulty making shots at the rim, maybe in the short mid-range. Are you surprised about that struggle early on in the season?
No, new system. We just keep adjusting each and every game. Still filling out, trying to really find what our go-to is, again, our identity, find those right ball movement where we need to get the ball in order to start our offense, where we're going to create it at. So it's still early in the season, so, we're going to find it. We trust and believe in each other, and we just got to stay together.
I'm sure you guys aren't positive after 2 losses, but does it feel like the energy is still different than it was last year?
Our energy is everybody's positive right now. We just trying to get. If we lose, we're getting over to the next game, focusing on that. But our energy is amazing. No matter if we're just trying to keep that same energy. If we win, keep it to. Even if we lose, just try to keep positive vibes, keep good energy. And you could just see nobody's giving up. We still got a lot of fight in us, and our heads on the right place.
One last question on your defense. You've been playing lower in the defense this year. It's given you a lot of opportunities for blocks. Are you happy to be playing a style of defense that kind of leads into your length down low? You're a quick jumper. You can time guys up. Have you been happy about that?
It's just about making those right reads, those right plays. Just within our defense, If I'm that low guy and I see something happening, I just go and be able to go try to block the shot. If someone tries to drive on me, just trying to keep finding it and trying to go chase it. Just about our defense, I feel like I said, we can be a really good defense once we got a lot of guys that play really good defense. So we just got to stay locked in and, protect our paint. And that's our main goal.
You spoke about sort of having go-tos. It seemed like you got a lot more aggressive after Philadelphia went on that run to start the third. Do you feel like you got to be a bit more aggressive to start the game, sort of set a tempo going for your teammates?
Just about how the game is going, If something is working at the beginning of the game, I feel like we were still doing really good at halftime. We were still up at halftime, so, I'm not just out there focusing on myself. The team was playing really well, so just going with the flow, When things need to get picked up, you see me come with more energy. It's just about how the game is going, They're focused on me some. Switch different positions, different people are guarding me, different matchups. Just being able to find those recognitions out there and then just trying to go take advantage. Getting more rebounds, pushing it, it's just things happen in the floor of the game.
Thank you.
All right. I just want to address something real quick before we get to Raptors Truth Teller, Danish, and Maroon Prince. Look, media people, I've addressed you quite a few times, sometimes privately, sometimes publicly. I'm just going to say this out there. I'm just going to put it out there, and I'm not trying to be controversial because there's some very smart people out there who are beating the drum of Scottie as a center. It's a big, big talking point last year on the Yahoo podcast with William Liu and those guys, right? They really want this to be true because they believed it for 3 years. They've always wanted it to be true. They keep saying, this is his best position. Oh, he's lower in the defense. He's great there. Okay, please understand this, man. He's not doing what you say he's doing. You're only seeing what you want to see. Okay, I think Scottie's perfectly right. It's very early in the offense. They're putting in new wrinkles every single day. There were some very encouraging signs for the half-court offense today. But yet again, you get the conversation about the half-court offense struggling, et cetera, et cetera. Is this shooting sustainable? Blah, blah, blah. Look, man, I have maintained pretty much all offseason. And maybe this is the opposite side of the same coin, where, you have a take and you want it to be right so that you can tell people at the end of the year that you were right. But this is the problem. You must adjust. When the information is telling you something else, you have to adjust. Scottie is not a center. Okay. You can say he's a point forward, you can say he's a point guard, but you have this idea. And I think, to those of you who are really paying attention to the Raptors media sphere, you know exactly who I'm talking to and who I'm talking about. You have this idea that this guy cannot play point guard. You want to beat this drum home so badly because you've been on record for 3 years saying he's never going to be a point guard. Please understand this. He is by far your best point guard. We understand that he is not shifty, dynamic, or whatever the fuck you think that a point guard is supposed to be. But you were also, the people that I'm talking to, you were also very big Fred VanVleet fans. And I don't think I've seen Fred VanVleet blow past someone since 2017 off without a pick. So are you telling me that Scotty Barnes is less capable of getting to the basket with a Jakob Poeltl pick than Fred VanVleet? Or are you just so convinced that because he can't shoot, the defenses will be able to adjust? Long strides, straight line drivers need spacing. I'm going to trust that Darko Rajakovic and Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri, despite their many blunders, are more attuned to the type of player that they're building around here than, some very pretentious, sometimes knowledgeable, but sometimes very pretentious, think they know it all type of people. Okay? Just leaving that out there. All right, let's bring on Raptors Truth Teller, Danish, and Maroon Prince. Maroon Prince, welcome back. You are like a resident mainstay. Danish, haven't talked in a while. How are you doing? And Raptors Truth Teller, I don't know if we've ever talked. Have we ever talked?
I don't. Nah.
No, we've never talked. But okay.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. It was a big game, obviously. Philadelphia, kicked our behinds, and I'm honestly glad they kicked our butts, pretty much.
Can I request that you wear headphones if you're going to talk? Because I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm wearing headphones right now.
So who's not wearing headphones? Maroon Prince, you not wearing headphones? Who's not wearing headphones?
I've got headphones on.
Everyone's got headphones on. Why am I hearing an echo?
I don't know. It might be my headphones. I don't know. I'm wearing Beats, so I don't know if that's. Is it a bad echo?
Yeah. It's very distracting.
All right. I'll just adjust that.
Okay, Danish, how are you doing? You have yourself on mute, so it's definitely not you. Hello?
Anyway, I was on mute as well. Do you still hear the echo?
No, I don't hear an echo now.
Okay.
How are you guys doing?
Well, I'm a little frustrated, but I'm optimistic still. It's just day 5 of me wondering when we're going to trade Pascal because this distraction is just going to blow up into something that's going to be unmanageable at this point.
Is he pretty much cratering his entire trade value at this point?
Well, Masai, we know he has balls of steel, but I mean, just like bounds of reason with this thing. Pascal Siakam is not contributing at the level of an all-star any longer with this unit.
Is it
Scotty
possible
Barnes,
that he's just overthinking right now? Is it possible that he's just not finding a space in the offense? I don't know, because it's
paying
like
$40 million to figure it out, though.
He's not the most naturally intelligent basketball player. There are certain players you could. I think. Okay, yeah, actually, I'm still hearing an echo. I am still hearing an echo. Is it possible it's you?
It might be. Here, I'll jump off. If I can figure out some better headphones, I'll come back in. But all I had to say was the Pascal stuff. So.
Okay, thanks a lot, man. Okay. Raptors Truth Teller, please feel free to come back. I think it was Maroon Prince, which is weird because it wasn't there yesterday. And now we have Danish here. Danish, are you still here? I'm not hearing you. Is it possible you've fallen asleep? No. To address what Raptors Truth Teller said, what Maroon Prince said, I gotta, I always try to flip it back to, okay, we got Raptors Truth Teller back. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. How are you doing? All right, we're good. I just want to address something that Maroon Prince said. So he said, I want to trade Pascal, etc. I always try to look at it from the other side. I try to see like, okay, let's say I'm a rival general manager. What am I seeing here? What I'm seeing here is you had an offense that you built around this guy, which if I'm trading for him, I'm probably not looking to do that because most teams in the NBA have someone that they're building around already. Even if you consider like the worst teams in the league, they are either tanking and they don't need him and they're on a completely different timeline, or they already have a young star like a Victor Wembanyama or a Scoot Henderson that they're looking to build around, or a Paolo Banchero. So I'm looking for a complementary star. Now his skill set doesn't naturally swing into complementary skill sets because he's not. I mean, he's a pretty gifted a second playmaker, but the shooting is a really important part of being an off-ball player. And he doesn't really have like great shooting splits as a movement shooter, above the break. Doesn't take enough threes. Analytics don't love that type of profile for a second option. Okay, so if I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, well, what would he look like in my offense? Well, now I'm seeing what he might look like in my offense because now he's playing off of Scottie and it doesn't look so great. So if you're Masai Ujiri, you're probably seeing the same thing all the other general managers are seeing right now. So I don't think you can trade him right now either. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation, because if he ends up being a free agent next year, someone is going to pay him. I guarantee you, someone will pay him. It will be a Fred VanVleet situation all over again, because he's going to play himself out of a max contract, in your opinion, but someone out there will still offer him a max contract because they have money to spend, and there's nobody better. So unless he becomes like a bum this year, and it's like Andres Biedrins where it just falls off a cliff, which I doubt is going to happen, he's still going to be a close to max or max player. We got Danish back as well. How are you doing, Danish? Still can't hear you. Anyways, Raptors True Teller.
Go ahead. Yeah, this is silly, man. Like the way this team has been run, is being run right now. Like obviously you got a new coach, Darko Rajakovic, and Rajakovic, because I know that the way his name's spelled. But yeah, Nick Nurse, he got his revenge tonight. He clearly got his revenge tonight. And what do you think? What do you think about that? About him getting his
revenge? I mean, I don't think he got his revenge. He's in one of the most dysfunctional organizations. Someone I spoke to today who's very well connected with one of the players who's at least in the situation in Philly said that it is toxic. It is an absolutely toxic work culture. It's depressing to come to work. The players are kind of looking at each other like, what's happening with this James Harden situation? Daryl Morey is maybe losing the trust because, look, you're doing this to one of your players. If winning is important, James Harden showed up to the airport and they basically stopped him from getting on the plane. I mean, shit. I don't know how the players felt about that. Maybe they felt like, hey, great, you're drawing. But maybe some players felt like, hey, man, like James Harden gives us a chance to win. I don't know. I don't know what the players felt like. I'm not in the locker room, but I'm just saying, like, this is not a great situation. So I'm feeling like, if anything, I think the Raptors got their revenge tonight because they showed Nick Nurse what he didn't do all year. They shot 53% from three. I mean, they moved the ball. Scotty Barnes, dominating possessions as Siakam just stands around and wilts. And this is exactly what, we were asking for, in at least this community and this channel was asking for all last year. And this probably could have happened last year. And Nurse refused to do it. He wanted to give the ball to Fred. So shit, Nurse is seeing, if I'm to believe that burner account was his and he believes that he only had 3 good players, I think he's just found out that he had 4 good players.
Right. But the thing is, like, maybe we got revenge, but we lost the game. Like, we're 1-2 right now. We have
Did you expect us to win tonight without OG Anunoby? Did you honestly expect us to win tonight?
No.
Okay, so that's my point. This was a schedule loss. I think FA said it best. This was a schedule loss. I wasn't expecting us to win. I wanted to see the compete level. I wanted to see who showed up. And honestly, if I told you that, I mean, would you believe that? Would you agree that we were at least within striking distance in the fourth quarter?
Probably.
Okay, if I told you that Pascal Siakam was going to have 11 points on 8 attempts and Jakob Poeltl was going to have probably the worst game of his life, and they were going to have 2 of their stars, the only 2 stars really that they have, were going to shoot over 60%. Would you not assume that it was going to be a blowout? I think most people would. So this was effort. This was guts. This was effort. This was, this was pace. This was a lot of good things, man. This is not a bad loss. Like, there's a million ways to lose a game. This is not one of the ones that I feel bad about.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, bro, we got a lot to work on if we're talking about getting to where we're trying to go. Like, if you want,
Where are
if
we trying to
we're
go? Are we trying to contend this year?
playoffs, number one. Because in order to contend, you have to go to the playoffs. And then
can you guys hear me? Is it working now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Danish.
Oh my goodness, I was just talking very softly because this is my first live, so I was kind of nervous. So I was just.
We've actually had someone else named Danish before, so I assumed it was the same person, but
no, it's somebody different.
Different person. Okay, how are you?
Different person, same name. I'm doing well. How are you? Good evening. I'm sorry for.
No problem. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Can you pronounce it correctly for me so that I can pronounce it correctly? If you don't mind.
You're pronouncing it. You're pronouncing it correctly.
Like, I don't want to do the stupid white guy thing where I like mispronounce, because I have a last name that everyone mispronounces. They always call me Misovic, and I hate it. Like, I don't want to hate it, but like, I feel that it's very important as a person that people get my name right. So I will wait for them to say Mishovic properly. So what is your name as you would like me to say it?
Okay. If you can pronounce it well, it's called Danish.
Danish.
Yes.
Was that
exactly
perfect?
Like that. That's exactly like that.
Can you rate it out of 10? Was my pronunciation 10 out of 10?
Yes.
Great. Perfect. Danish. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? I'm sorry, I just butted into the conversation. I was just
no
trying
worries.
to figure out this thing.
you got your mic to work. That's great. What did you think of the game tonight?
Couple of takeaways. I did enjoy the performance from Scottie and Gradey. I really liked everything that was going on, and I feel like these two are they're a really good future for the Raptors. I kind of, for this game specifically, I kind of have a little takeaway considering it is off a back-to-back, right? So like I kind of see it if I put myself into like one of the Raptors shoes, and like if I were like if I put myself into their shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then against the Bulls, we had a really bad shooting night, right? We shot like under 30% from the 3-point line. So because of that, like Darko, and obviously they obviously had meetings within each other, bunch of team meetings were like, okay, we got to improve on 3-point shooting. Obviously, considering
easier said than done.
Yeah.
They had a film session today in which it was pretty painful to look at some of the mistakes, and I mentioned it yesterday's live that when they look at the last 11 minutes, they're going to realize how self-inflicted this was, and it was self-inflicted. It was a lot of crumbling down the stretch, and so a little weird way, like everyone expected this game to be a loss. You're coming in late, probably you get out of Chicago probably around 1 a.m. You get in. You sleep late, you wake up, you do the film session, you go through shoot around, you take a nap, you eat some food, then you go to shoot around again, then you play the game. This is a quick turnaround. And there are certain, I would say 10 games a year are schedule losses. You're very lucky to win one. Maybe you're lucky to win two. Most teams will lose unless you're like the 96 Chicago Bulls. You're probably not going to win a lot of those games. This was a schedule loss for me. It's a contending team. Granted, they are missing one of their better players. Still have a lot of good players, man. And they're rested, and you're not, and you played overtime, and a heartbreaking loss. I think they bounced back well.
Yeah, I believe so too. Considering just the OT, and like considering like they bounced back their 3-point shooting crazy well. They may have tunneled a little hard on it, because maybe just because of recency bias, just because the day before they didn't shot too well from 3. But yeah, like that bounce back was really good. I think I know we were talking about like moving Jakob to the bench. Like I think some individuals would brought that up. I don't like that. I would not do it. I just think it was just a bad. I think that was just like a bad game for him.
It's not a reaction to this game at all. Yeah. It's not a reaction to this game at all. I've been on this camp for like 3 straight games now. Ever since I saw that, like it's just really difficult to get spacing. Right now you're getting absurd shooting. I don't want to say absurd shooting, but you're getting probably, I don't know if it's sustainable for Scottie to shoot 34, 35% for an entire season. Maybe it is. Maybe this is just who he is now. He's a 35% 3-point shooter, and we don't have to keep talking about him as a non-spacer because he's taking threes in rhythm and defenses are leaving him open. And unlike last year where defenses were leaving him open and he was, being dared to shoot, he's staying confident and he's making them. And now you have Gradey who's providing a bit of spacing, and Dennis is hitting open threes, and Pascal is taking open threes. So maybe it would work. Maybe it could work. But my theory has always been that you cannot replace a Gary Trent Jr. with a Dennis Schroeder and keep Jakob Poeltl in the starting lineup. So it's like a one or the other, or ideally both. Now, I had higher expectations for Precious Achiuwa coming into this season than the player that he has been. Like, he has been god awful for the first 3 games. So I am kind of okay with Jakob because he's a great, I think he and Scottie could have some great synergy, but then, then Dennis has to go to the bench. Like, somebody has to be able to really be a good shooter.
Precious, man, he I feel like we just he has to be in the gym like every single day doing like 100 reps on just like attacking the basket or something, like, because every single time he gets the ball under the rim, like, it just feels like he's clueless.
I don't think reps are the issue. Raptor shoot teller, what do you think?
He lacks IQ, man. He lacks IQ, and he's inconsistent from 32. That's another problem. 1 minute he's like, yeah. Sometimes he's scared to take them. I mean, last season we've seen moments where he would literally pass up open threes, and I think he's just more comfortable rolling to the rim. But the issue is Raptors need spacing, man. And when you have Achiuwa and Chris Boucher out there together, like last season, you have 2 guys that are in the same that are playing, the same position, basically. Like, they're both power forwards. So, yeah, for that reason, you got to have guys that are able to, you have to be able to provide spacing just a little bit better that way. And I feel like that would just make you more playable. Just having better shooting make you more playable.
Yeah, no, I feel it. Any closing thoughts for either one of you? Any sort of takeaways? What would you like to see in the next game? You want to see more Gradey minutes? You want to see Otto minutes? What do the Raptors do from here? Because clearly 1 and 2. I mean, if you told me they started this season 1 and 2, I don't think I would be surprised. I kind of expect them to start 2 and 1. So I had them losing this Philly game. I can't remember. I think I did a predictions thing, and I think I had them losing the first game, winning the second game, and losing the third game. So this is the only one I've gotten right so far. But it almost makes the last loss so much more painful. But you've been in every single game in the fourth quarter, technically.
Yeah.
You've led at halftime, I think, in every single game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that one. Like, maybe yesterday you were like, you've been in the game at halftime every single game. And tonight you were leading at halftime. Who the hell saw that coming without OG Anunoby? So you get OG back. Hopefully some of this Gradey stuff carries over. I am encouraged. I'm encouraged that once the offense starts to settle, that you have something with Scottie. Hopefully, if Dennis can sort of settle into his role a little bit, hopefully you can get something out of Jalen McDaniels at some point too. But what would be your one suggestion for the next game? Hey, try this. I'll start with you, Raptor shoot teller.
Yeah, first of all, we need trades. We need to make those trades. But
fire up the trade machine. Okay,
fire up the trade machine. Pascal to here, Pascal to there.
You know that meme of Masai Ujiri walking into the tunnel, like shaking, rubbing his hands together and say, it's like that.
Yeah,
that's what I imagine you doing right now. It's just like fire up the ESPN trade machine. Pascal Siakam to Detroit. This guy to this team, this guy to this team, and like tomorrow morning you just wake up.
You
like,
just simulate something with every single
Woj
team.
has a heart attack. Woj has a heart attack at like 2 a.m. when he's just like, the Raptors trade their whole fucking team. Like, what the fuck happened? It's like, oh, Raptors truth teller. He found Masai's BlackBerry. Nice. All right, Danish, what would you change?
What would I change? I think maybe we can like just experiment randomly with like just starting Gradey. This like a very, very like, it could be like a hot take, but I mean, like, I loved everything that I saw from him. Like, we could.
I don't think it's a hot take at all. I would start him too. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for calling in. Really appreciate it.
Okay, have a
Cheers,
good one.
All right,
cheers. All right, let us bring in Lane. Lane, what up? Last caller of the night. What up, man?
What's up? So I'm gonna keep it $150 with you. I didn't watch this game because I was watching the world.
Appreciate it.
I was watching the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes and Maserati Marv, aka Marvin Harrison Jr., aka the Victor Wembanyama of college football. take on the Wisconsin Badgers in Camp Randall, and Marvin Harrison Jr. did Marvin Harrison Jr. things. Made me very happy. So I did not get to watch this one.
Okay. What's your takeaway from this game
So-
that you didn't watch? Okay, let me tell you about it. So I'm gonna describe the game for you for anyone else who didn't watch it. Scotty Barnes basically turned into Kawhi Leonard.
Gotcha.
Broke his guy off the dribble a couple times. Pascal Siakam started out hot, basically disappeared, ran away from the basketball 150 times. Dennis Schroeder hit 1-3 and then suddenly thought that he was prime Allen Iverson. Grady Dick hit his first three, and then he hit another one and another one and another one, and basically found himself earning 28 fucking minutes tonight. And I think he had 16 points. I'm a flash. Are you looking at your screen right now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, this is the game. That's Scotty Barnes' shot chart, bro. His first three was a 29-foot fucking three from above the break. He was dominating in the post, but unfortunately, our defense without OG Anunoby surrendered 60+% shooting to both Embiid and Maxey. And this is the box score. And Grady Dick was 5 for 8 from the field for 16 fucking points. Incredible. Got to the line twice. I think he tried his best on defense, but he struggled a little bit. Malachi had by far his best game of the season, which is not a high water mark or anything, but he played 12, 13 minutes and he didn't kill the team. Chris Boucher started out hot, but then basically became unplayable. Precious Achiuwa missed 3 dunks. Gary Trent started in place of OG Anunoby. Jakob Poeltl had the worst game of his life. And yes, I mentioned that Dennis Schroeder started feeling himself a lot. And then basically Scotty Barnes took over late and it wasn't enough. Yeah, but I think Scotty had his best game of the season, and that's counting a fucking triple-double yesterday. So I think he played great. So yeah, that's basically the thing, and that was the game.
Why did Otto not play?
It's a great question. I talked to someone today who said they're still ramping him up and that expect him around game 5 to start becoming available. This is game 3. So 2 more games, and I'm going to start, trying to find some fax numbers or some shit. I don't know why I've gotten in my head to fax people that don't know me my random ideas about this team. But yeah, I agree. He would help a lot. And Jalen McDaniels got 2 minutes. I don't know what your thoughts are on Jalen McDaniels. I was excited and very encouraged by him in preseason. Yeah, and he got 2 minutes tonight, and he's been pretty okay. I mean,
he just has to find a shot. He just has to find a shot. That's all.
He's played 3 games and has not scored.
He's just got to find a shot. I mean, it's not like he's a guy you expect to go out there and score. You just expect him to hold the line. And if he scores, it's a positive. Just don't fuck up. And I mean, he doesn't really fuck up much other than just missing shots, but like it'll come.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. I'm curious how he got such a quick hook because a lot of other guys have been extended a much longer leash than him, and he has been an overwhelming positive for you offensively. And if you're asking me right now, I understand that all the blue chip, Precious Achiuwa is so potential, blah, blah, blah. But if you're asking me honestly, I trust Jalen McDaniels more than I trust Precious Achiuwa and Chris Boucher right now. And this is funny because, this is coming off probably a really great Chris Boucher game yesterday. So it's very much a mixed bag with Chris. You never know what you're going to get. Today you get a lot of bad. His intentions are always good. His ideas are sometimes really bad.
I think when Chris knows his role is when he plays best. Like, I don't know if you remember, was it 2 years ago in February? We played the Miami Heat and we literally, Nick Nurse literally ran a 6-man rotation. And Chris Boucher got 30 minutes, but it's because he was the 6th man and he's the only bench player that played. That was a double overtime game too. That was crazy. But he knew his role, so he knew how to play in his role. And I think right now the issue seems like he doesn't know his role. He didn't play the first game, right? He didn't get in the second game until, mid-third quarter, I mean, he doesn't know his role right now. And he's not one of those guys we could just put him in. I mean, he's a spark plug. He has energy, but he's not one of those guys.
He knows his role because he's talked at length about what a great relationship he has with Darko Rajakovic. I'm pretty sure that it would be impossible for him to have such a great relationship with your coach, texting all the time. Apparently, he's like, we text. And it's super smooth. And he compared it to, texting Nick Nurse and not being, the smoothest. I can just imagine texting Nick Nurse. So I'm assuming that there has been some element of communication between him and Darko about, hey, yes, certain matchups will dictate that we need your type of, production and stay ready. and we really value you. And Darko keeps it light. It's so funny that we come from the same city, we come from the same country, the same city, know so many of the same people, and yet I'm so different than him. So different. I like everything he does. I'm like the opposite, and I appreciate him for it, because I'm not good at a lot of things. So I appreciate learning from people who are different than me. But it's like the extended encouragement from him towards people who are doing the wrong thing is quite. I'm curious when his patience runs out too. Because I wouldn't have played Malachi tonight, and he did, and Malachi was good tonight. And it's like I would have benched him. I straight up would have I would have broken a clipboard on his head, after the last game. And it's just like he didn't do that. He doesn't quit on people, and maybe that's why players respect him so much.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of just switch up the subject. Did you see the 2-minute report from last night?
Yes, I did.
I knew real time that Pascal Siakam quote unquote offensive foul on Caruso was not a foul, but to then it I don't know, it was like kicking the dead horse to read that 2-minute report, because that doesn't happen. You inbound that ball to Siakam, right? That's probably 2 seconds off the clock. Even if he clanks both free throws, they have no timeouts. You're asking them to make a half court shot in 1.5 seconds. It's probably not going to happen, right? So that call doesn't get called. We're 2-0 coming into tonight. And that's a hard one to take, because when you're looking at this team, like the Bulls are going to be a team that we're going to be going against to either, fever dream that 5 or 6 spot, but in reality, that 7, 8, 9, 10 spot. And this is one of those losses where you're going to look at in April and be like, damn, that loss in October really hurt you.
Fair. It was self-inflicted, but it's a learning curve. I said before, and I have not committed to it, and I've not stuck with it, but I said to myself, and I said out loud, that I would not judge this team until about 20 games. And I would hope that around 20 game mark that they're 10-10. And
it's a great expectation to have.
I think it's a fair expectation to have. New system, new point guard, new offense. You're getting in the flow of things. You're trying to transition the offense more towards Scottie, and which was always going to be the case. Look at the branding. Look at the fucking the season tickets merch. Look at the jersey sales. Look at everything has been oriented towards this guy. A lot of people, spent a lot of time this offseason talking a lot of shit about Scottie, saying it's not earned. Trust me, they're seeing something, and you're seeing it now too. And I'm very happy for the people. I have a personal thing. You followed this channel last year. You understand, how I feel about Scottie. And there's a part of me that just wants people to shut the fuck up about him. I really do. He's a really fucking good player. He cares a lot about winning. And to have him sort of have his character slandered, and it's one thing to say, okay, this player is not my type of player, this player is not playing well tonight. That's one thing, but to have his character assassinated and have his maturity questioned, and it's a talking point that's consistent. It's consistent, and it's just look, I may not be the moral authority on maturity. I've had some fucking immature moments as well, but I think he's remarkably mature for his age. And I think for his age, that caveat, for his age, I think he's remarkably mature for his age. Look at how he handled yesterday's loss.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you see the post game?
The accountability was beautiful.
The accountability is a huge part of maturity. God damn it, you find me a 50-year-old who's currently in therapy, and you tell me if their entire life would change if they took accountability for their shit the way Scottie does. He doesn't sit there and blame people. Last year, how easy would it be for it was Fred's fault, it was it was Pascal's fault, it was nurse's fault, it was the media's fault. He had every excuse in the book, right? He didn't make them. And people often clown how sometimes he'll get injured or something like that, and he'll run off the court and stuff. He plays through so much pain. He played through tendonitis, and people are just oh, he's doing cardio out there, he's not doing anything. It's personal. At this point, I want so many people to eat crow. It's not even funny. And it's not for me. It's not, maybe it's 5% for me ego. I just want to be able to say I was right about him or whatever, but it's just for him. I want him to be good so bad, because I know how bad he wants it too, and I know he wanted this win, and I know he really wanted yesterday's win. And it's he seemed better at the post game. I don't know if you've seen his post game today. He seemed a little bit more composed, because I think he knew going in that this was going to be a really tough one, and that they weren't really going to win this game the way they were playing. But yesterday he was devastated because I think he also knew, like, he's such a smart player. He knows they choked that one away. Like, they gave away a winnable one. And you're fully right. If at the end of the year you're 41-41 and they're 41-41 and they have the tiebreaker for the final play-in spot, you're gonna, oh my God, you're gonna cry over this.
Yeah, exactly. The one going back on what you said about him keeping it real and accountability. The one thing I like is like about this team now is I think in bigger markets where the media does grill you, and Toronto is a huge market where the media grills you. Like you look at every sport, you look at the Blue Jays, they question Vladimir Guerrero all the time. You look at the Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews is always under scrutiny, right? The Raptors, it's the same thing. Like the media is going to grill you. I think every player on the Raptors though keeps it real, and it's not all the same energy. Like I think Pascal and Jakob are a little bit more straight to the point, but they explain themselves and they're authentic. Scottie's authentic, Gary's authentic, Boucher's authentic. You know, they're all authentic to the media. Like there's no politician. Like don't get me wrong. Like I'm not shitting on anybody from past teams if you get what I'm saying, but it was a little bit politician-y last year, you know, like just kiss the baby already, take a picture, kiss the baby, pass it on kind of thing. You know, that's kind of what I feel like at times. And I kind of appreciate this year all through training camp. Like they're getting grilled on questions, and it's just authentic answers to everything. Like every single one of them is an authentic answer. I mean, even on when Jakob and Pascal were getting grilled on like the selfishness of the team last year, and there was one reporter kind of coming at Pascal like it was him, and he was like, "I'm not a selfish player. I've never played selfish." You know, he could have easily like slid that over and been like, "Yeah, new year, new team," you know, kind of thing. Instead, he was real. You know, Scotty was real. He was like, "Hey, I'm getting the ball more this year. I'm happy about that."
You know what?
he's
I think I believe Siakam when he says he's not selfish, and you know, I felt it last year too. There was a major shift from where he started to where he ended the year in terms of, you know, the ball dominance, usage, and the type of player he was trying to be. And you can tell that he's kind of lost between this sort of when am I
bought
supposed to
in.
go
Yeah,
and
he's
when am
bought
I.
it. He's
It's not.
extremely bought in right now to the point where it's like I think he's getting misused. I really liked last year Nick Nurse compliment. Very rare Nick Nurse compliment, but I really liked last year how when Scotty wasn't on the court, Pascal was the initiator. When Scotty was on the court and Fred wasn't on the court, Scotty was the initiator. I feel like once you get past that 6 minute mark in the first quarter, where either Scotty comes out or Pascal comes out, whichever one of them comes out, right? Play them off of each other until the fourth.
They've kind of been doing that. You know, they've been staggering the minutes. Scotty
I
had like
don't
some run with the second unit. Siakam had some run with the second unit. I just think OG is needed. He wasn't there tonight because he had cramps and muscle cramps, not cramps, muscle cramps. And I just overall think that this roster construction doesn't make it's a lot like trying to shove a square peg into a round hole, right? It's a little bit there's not a lot of natural synergy, and the places where there is natural synergy or it could be more natural synergy, it's like players are not necessarily buying into how that synergistic fit would work from in terms of who is supposed to handle and who's supposed to set the screen and who's supposed to flare and who's supposed to, you know, relocate and when they're supposed to do these things. But it was better today. There was more decisiveness today. I know that, you know, Embiid and Maxey probably like shot like this. I can't remember the last time two stars shot 60+% against the Raptors in the same game. So used to Nurse defenses where that just doesn't happen. And I don't think the Raptors defense was necessarily great today. It was bad. It was okay, but it wasn't great. Scottie's defense was great, but I don't think the Raptors defense was great. So it's like you take out like the guy who's, you know, it's weird. Like Scottie's technically, in my opinion, he's been their best defender. I know he's not their best defender overall over the year. It probably won't be, but for the first two games, he was their best defender. And tonight he was their best defender. But it's like once you take OG out of the mix, there just isn't enough. And you're replacing OG with Gary. You're literally replacing your second best defender with like your ninth best defender. And it's like they got off to a pretty hot start. Could you have possibly started Otto or Jalen McDaniels or something like that just to keep the defense afloat? I don't know.
That's where I think the McDaniels more playing time needs to come from. I think he would have done a lot better job on Maxey from what it looks like. Lanky guy, he's quick. I don't know. I thought Schroeder would have done a better job on him, but I guess I was wrong.
I mean, I don't think Tyrese Maxey necessarily going off is all on Dennis Schroeder. I'll have to look at the tape and just see like how, I don't think one person can really stop Tyrese Maxey at this point.
He's so
Um,
good.
he is so good, and he struggled a little bit early. I'm surprised he ended the game shooting this well because it almost feels like he missed every single shot he took in the beginning. And then, he finishes the game 12 for 20. I mean, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that means that he finished like probably shooting like 11 for 14 or something in his last, some possessions because he started out really cold. He didn't have a single point in the first quarter, if I recall correctly. So yeah, I mean, and he's a team leading plus 10 for the Sixers, and Embiid got whatever the hell he wanted as well. They didn't put him at the line much. He had to bait some fouls, but he had a near triple double, man. 34 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. You didn't take away anything from him,
Yeah.
So it's just tough.
You're not gonna. I mean, going back to what you said about the Nick Nurse defenses and how they always used to take away big games from stars, but it felt like the 6th and 7th man on the roster was always going for 15 to 20 points, just sitting in the corner, hucking up threes. I don't know. I feel like Darko's kind of taking that away. And it's kind of like, we know your superstars are going to score, but we're not really going to let anyone else score past that. And
I don't think that's true at all. Anthony Edwards didn't score well in the first game. Zach
No,
LaVine was
well,
completely
you had OG
had the water
Anunoby.
turned off. Zach
Yeah.
LaVine was shut down more by Scottie. Anthony Edwards was definitely a byproduct of OG, but I mean, you're still, and I mean, today on Embiid, they sent a double almost every single time on him. It's the same thing. It's different personnel. So like, and the difference between Nurse's defense and Rajakovic's defense, at least from what I noticed, was, they played Embiid straight up a few times, which I didn't like. I think you should swarm bad decision makers. The Raptors should know this because their bad decision makers keep getting swarmed and they keep turning the ball over. So I think that they should have forced the ball out of Embiid's hands a little bit more assertively and aggressively, but you have to have personnel to do this. You have to have personnel to do this. And at times you had Gradey, who's a rookie and maybe he's not the best defender, and you have Malachi and he's not the best defender, and Schroeder and he's not the best defender. He's definitely not Fred VanVleet as a team defender or help defender. And you have Gary. So you have 4, let's not call them defensive liabilities, but less than perfect team defenders who are ideal, for quick recover and quick switches and quick recovers. So like it's different, and Nurse is a visionary, when it comes to defense. Like in my opinion, even though the defenses were not always the most spectacular under him, there were spurts and moments when he had the right personnel and the right team to do it, where he really could game plan against a star, especially if he had a playoff series or something to work with. And
sure.
what I noticed with Embiid was there was a lot of stuff done to him. Giannis, last year there was a game against Kevin Durant where Durant coughed the ball up a lot. And what you would notice is like every fucking time down the court, it's coming from a different direction and coming in a different way. Sometimes they let him catch it and let him think that he's cool, and then they would blitz. Sometimes they would blitz him on the catch, and then they would, force out the, and then they would front him. Sometimes they would play him straight up. Sometimes they would put OG on him and then have Scotty help. Sometimes they put Scotty on him and then have OG help. This is very difficult to get any sort of like rhythm as an offensive player when the coverage is always changing. But you have to actually practice all of this, right? You have to practice all of this. You have to be so good at it, and you have to be so disciplined. And sometimes tonight wasn't super disciplined. It was late. There was fouls. They didn't close out fast enough. They didn't recover fast enough when the player was blitzing. Maybe the blitz came late. Maybe the pass out, there wasn't the correct rotation. So it's early. Yes, I don't know how much of the defense they've put in to the playbook yet. And it's again very difficult. I remember last year the Washington Wizards were on fire in the East, and the New Orleans Pelicans were also on fire. Guess what? Both teams finished like bottom. Not bottom, but like almost bottom. So it's like they like it can change. And the same thing can happen on the reverse, right? The Lakers were abysmal and they ended up in the conference finals. So to any Raptor fan out there, do not judge this team until the 20 game mark, regardless of how many times I judge this team before the 20 game mark, because I can't just every single live be like, okay, let's not talk about anything for the next 17 games. I can't do that. I have to react. It's kind of my job, I guess, as a YouTuber. but please, understand that in a very, like, if you talk to me off the air, I would tell you exactly that I would tell you this, that for 17 games, don't judge this. Like, don't take everything super seriously right now. It's still very much a work in progress. And I think Scotty answered it really well in today's live when Samson sort of grilled him about the half court offense. He said it's early, and I'm really happy. And I hope that message conveyed to Samson so that he can stop talking about it.
Yeah. And what I was kind of alluding to was like last year, I don't know, I feel like I think Kyle Anderson go for like 28 on us in a game. It just felt like the randoms. I mean, not the randoms, so they're NBA players, but like the superstars, yes, had good games, but it always felt like we gave up big points, easy points on the wing and the corner and the paint to like the fourth or fifth, sixth guy on the team. To whereas this year, through 3 games, it doesn't seem like that's the case. Like, obviously, Embiid and Maxey had great games today, but like their third leading scorer was Tobias Harris with 15 points.
I mean, the last Alex Caruso 3 notwithstanding, because that was transition and I don't really care about that. Like, not that I don't care about that, and it was projectable, and Scotty saw it and he pointed to it, and nobody rotated, and it was contestable. It wasn't such brilliant offense by the Bulls, where they found some incredible advantage in scrambling defense 3-on-2, and then Alex Caruso was impossible to get out to. It was just a late rotation, and they paid for it, dearly paid for it. However, what I will say is I have noticed far fewer leaky corners in this defense, so I appreciate that.
Which
and
is
I think
great.
I agree. And again, the media has narratives, right? The media has a narrative that Darko is an offense guy and Nurse was a defense guy. And one of the players that I talked to who's played for him both back home this summer, he was like, he grilled us on defense. We spent so much of our time on defense. So I'm very curious if this is one of those things where the branding is wrong. Nurse was considered an offensive coordinator and a bit of an offensive genius at times, right? Like before he took the job, when he was billed, Casey was the defensive, mastermind behind the Mavericks championship, and Nurse was the offense guy, right?
Yeah.
How quickly that changed with the playoffs, right? We found out that Nurse was, creative defensively, and he could shut down stars, and he had all these little gimmicks, which, personally, again, comes down to branding. I think it was pretty overrated, but he did know how to shut down stars, but he gave up all those corners, and he gave up role players, and Yuta Watanabe killing us, and man, the number of role players who I have to have nightmares about because of this dude.
Yeah.
I mean, give up something.
Even going back to like the Dwayne Casey days, I know it's not Nick Nurse, but what was it? Was it the 2017 playoffs against the Bucks when like 37-year-old Jason Terry went off on us in the fourth quarter and almost led them like on a comeback? It was really young Giannis. It was like fourth year Giannis, like right before he hit superstardom.
This was under Nurse?
No, this was under Casey in 2017. And Jason Terry's old ass had like 34 on us, and it was like 20 points in the fourth quarter, and he almost led them back. And I remember the DeFrozen jokes. That's kind of when they kind of started, because he went like 2 for 14 in the fourth, I believe, or something like that. I mean,
sorry, I'm dying. This guy said Pat Bev looks like he sleep outside Bathurst Station. Sorry, you're not from Toronto. You don't know Bathurst Station, but he's basically saying Pat Bev looks homeless. Bro, why you got to do Pat Bev like that? I know Pat Bev talks a lot of shit. Scotty was talking back to him, and I really appreciated that. I was curious to see if Siakam was going to do some give Pat Bev some business tonight. It didn't really happen, but
we'll see him again.
We will see him again. You will actually see him very soon, and I hope the Raptors learn some lessons from tonight. Anyways, closing thoughts on what you would like to see the next game. I believe it's against the Charlotte Hornets.
Portland Trailblazers.
Portland Trailblazers. Okay.
Yeah, they have no Simons, so I mean, it looks like a scheduled loss for them. I mean, even if they have Simons, it looks like a scheduled loss.
Looks like it, but I actually think that team might be sneaky good.
If you don't let Brogdon go off, you'll be okay. If OG's back, park him on Scoot. Scoot he's going to be good, but he looks like he's never seen a capable defender before. And now that there's guys that are as fast as him or as smart as him, he's kind of struggling so far, and the shot's obviously not there. It wasn't even there in the G League. So he's having issues right now. So OG's back. You just park OG on him. You don't have to worry about him going off. And I mean, you take care
I
of
don't
Shaden.
think I don't know. I don't even think I would put OG on him. To be honest with you, I would definitely like
I
let
think
Dennis.
I would want to keep. Well, I would want to keep. Okay, well, true, but I would almost keep Dennis on Shaden Sharp. Just kind of because Dennis is a little bit more handsy than OG. I know OG's physical, but especially in the paint, Shaden likes to get in and drive in, and I think OG's more of a perimeter guy. So if you keep Scoot at the perimeter, keep him parked there, don't let him move. Keep Dennis on Shaden, and then let Scottie be a rover. Don't let Ayton or Williams take over the game in the paint. I mean, you should be okay.
Yeah.
Should be a much better Jakob game.
So this is a Monday.
And
Monday at 7:30. Okay.
Let auto play. I don't care if he's ramping up. Park his ass in the corner and just watch the spacing immediately improve. Watch it. I mean, last year, beginning of the season, what was it? Through the first 4 games, we had one of the best offensive ratings in the league. And Otto was getting like 22, 23 minutes a night, and he wasn't even hitting shots yet. But every time
he didn't play the first 4 games last year.
No, you're right. It was the first 4 he played because we played the Spurs.
We played some really we played some very dog shit teams.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit misleading, but we did play some of those games without Siakam. There was if I'm not mistaken, he either came back right when Siakam went out or he came back the game before Siakam went out. So it was really unfortunate timing that you never got to see your full roster together.
Yeah.
Because I really think he would have made a huge difference last year, and unfortunately he just didn't have him, and it was just frustrating for him, right? It was very frustrating for him because I know how much he wants to be out there, and despite what the Toronto media likes to clown the guy, he's a true pro.
Dude, he was a 6 man that was sometimes the 5th starter on a team that won the championship 2 years ago.
For good reason, and they miss him a lot.
They do. Would trade back for him in a heartbeat if they could.
I'm sure they would. Yeah, I think they let him go for like luxury tax reasons. They couldn't afford him. It's the same reason the Sixers let go of Jalen McDaniels. Anyways, any closing thoughts? No, that was it. That was the closing thought.
Yes.
I'm going to exit this live. It's 2 hours and 22 minutes, and I did a 40-minute live earlier today that I swore was going to be 20 minutes and ended up going 41 minutes. But it was a good one. It was on stats and shit that was going right and wrong. And in it, I sort of predicted what would happen tonight in a way. Like, I'm not saying I predicted it, but like I talked about what they needed to do better and that they could be a better 3-point shooting team. Would you believe me if I told you the Raptors shot 53% from 3 tonight and 60% from above the break threes tonight? Fucking crazy, right?
Yeah,
you would not believe me. Exactly.
It is crazy. One more thing, just want to add in to everyone watching. Michigan's a bunch of cheaters. Harbaugh should be fired. Sign stealing scandal. It's absolutely
nobody cares about this. I promise you. Nobody cares.
I just got to put it in. I got to put it in.
You got to put it in there. Crazy about his college football / basketball. I don't know what sport you're talking about. You talking about lacrosse? All right, appreciate it. I know that's going to trigger you because you're not talking about lacrosse. I know that, but
big Buckeye guy.
I'm just going to pretend you're talking about curling. It's the Canadian in me. All right, peace, man.
All right, see you, man.
Yeah. Ohio State Buckeyes. Great curling team. Appreciate it. All right. Oh my God. Funny. Okay. Always a great conversation. I loved the callers today. It was great. I hope the Dennis Schroeder and the Pascal Siakam stuff wasn't too much negativity. Honestly, I'm happy with this loss. I don't want them to lose. I of course wanted them to win. I thought they might win. I thought there might be like some sort of vengeance thing. Maybe the Sixers sleep on it and maybe they come out relaxed. Sixers had a pretty professional effort today. I think the Raptors tried their best. I think there's just some things they need to clean up, but I think they'll get there. I trust Scottie and I trust I am learning to try and trust Darko Rajakovic. I've been calling for Grady to get more minutes. Why is he not playing? I'm doing the same thing now with Otto. Why is he not playing? And it's just like, boom, like you ramp him up slowly. You let him get his feet wet. Maybe Darko has seen this, with Devin Booker, Desmond Bane. He's been through this, So, yeah, I think just a word, because I've kind of addressed it briefly, but I do want to say this out loud. I don't know more about basketball than Darko Rajakovic. I don't know if I'll ever know more about basketball than Darko Rajakovic. I don't think I know more about basketball than Masai Ujiri. I don't think I know more about basketball than Bobby Webster. I'm just a guy on the internet that, I think I'm okay. And so sometimes, as much as I want them to do something or I'm curious why they're doing something, I think there has to be some element of humility added to it. It's not the Malachi Flynn thing where you start second guessing every thought that you have. It is just having the sort of humility to say, okay, I think one thing, a trained professional who's paid millions of dollars to do something else, do the thing that I'm talking about, thinks another thing. And maybe I have to learn what they see before I can talk about what I see. Does that make sense? So I'm not suggesting this team is going to be some god awful, like historic 3-point shooting team. I'm just saying, like, to all of the analysts out there who just keep shitting on this team in terms of, they're going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Scottie's the center. This take is it should retire. Like, you really should retire it. I understand he looks like a center to you. It's very difficult, for unimaginative people to see things that, they don't want to see. They see Dwight Howard when they see him. If you've walked in front of Scotty Barnes, if you've seen him, it's Dwight Howard. It's exact same physical profile as Dwight Howard, same wingspan, same shoulder size, everything. If he and Dwight Howard, if you cut a silhouette, they would be identical. So how the fuck are you supposed to imagine a Dwight Howard playing point guard? You've never seen it before. It's believing in unicorns. So sometimes you got to do that. Anyways, I'll see y'all. I don't think we're going to do a live tomorrow. Maybe I need a day to do the film study, and then that way I can release the film study maybe on Monday afternoon. I'll do my best. But yeah, thank you so much to all the people. There was like 400 people in here at one point. That's awesome. Keep rooting for this team. Keep believing in this team. I think we saw a glimpse of the future. I liked what I saw today. Peace, guys. Have a good one. Have a great stream. Oh, also, 244 of you. I'm gonna bet like, I would bet $100 that there's not 250 likes on this video, and there have been at least 1,800 people that have checked out the stream tonight. In and out, in and out, in and out. I checked the numbers while Scotty was speaking. So out of 1,800 people that walked into the stream, you telling me we couldn't get 250 likes? Leave a like on your way out. I appreciate it. Peace, guys. And thank you to everyone who left these super chats. You guys have been incredible about this. Another big shout out to Mike, Noble Venom, 319 Draco, and Kuata from Mars. And to finally, I should say this, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. It's very sad. I'm gonna have to go watch a Friends episode right now. Maybe we should all go watch a Friends episode. And if you're not a Friends fan and you don't want to, watch a Friends episode, then definitely go watch the stream from earlier. It was very data packed. It was incredibly, I think it was incredibly lucid. And it was talking about what I think should happen with this offense and how I think it can work. And it's funny because I think we saw a lot of that in this game. And I think it proves the point that you can do this, because this is not a terrible defensive team that you did it to. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.